Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hate plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a date with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, 12 can't really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In a yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the oh well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing cushion clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in that wonderful Technicolor rainbow in between, all good things must come to an end. It is the final week here for the Titan Esports Vanquisher League. I am What's It Birdie, joining me today, as per usual, my lovely casting partner through the entirety of the split, Golden Gad. How you feeling today on this most auspicious of days?
Feeling like it's a normal Tuesday, nothing crazy going on. It's just, you know, a regular day to play
Pretty
some League of
casual,
Legends. Yeah, definitely not any grand finals to be happening right now for Vanquisher League here. We do have, of course, Glacial, Esports, Tide, and XSV Jellyfish Jammers going back, no, kind of batting up here into the Thunderdome to figure out who will take the split this particular time.
Yeah, and coming into this particular matchup, I mean, we saw last week the upset that Glacial Esports had to get through to actually make it to this point. But now they've kind of been on the other side of it. As we heard in another league, I believe it was the ADL, they got reverse swept last night, which is not a great feeling coming into a matchup.
It sounds like both these teams have not had the best of times in other leagues in the last couple days here. So I've also heard XSV's lost a couple finals or close to finals.
A few
here or there.
Finals here and there. So it's not been great for either of these teams. It has been a bit of a struggle. But I think that's what makes this matchup all the sweeter, because both these teams are coming in with something to prove, something on the line outside of just the glory of winning Titan Vanquisher. This is about bragging rights. This is about saying all of those losses beforehand don't matter. We come in today, we win today, we're feeling good. We've got a couple expectations coming into this matchup. We did get to see Glacial last week, as I'm trying to figure out my words. But we haven't seen a ton of the Jellyfish Jammers, as much as we've been hearing about them just be a very, very good team.
Yeah, just from their kind of road up through the playoffs, it seemed pretty chill. They got in through the first initial, 3-0 in their round of 12, and then quarterfinals they won 3-1 over Mint, and then they won 3-0 over Boomers over Zoomers, and then now they're sitting face to face with Glacial, who definitely had a slightly more difficult time, but also didn't struggle too much. It just felt like their backup was against the wall against Oversoul, and they figured out how to get through that. And hey, one way or another, deadbotting haters be damned, he is here in the grand finals. It is what it is. So, we'll have to see how that kind of interaction happens. And we do also have the Jellyfish Jammers on the other side, which I feel like a lot of people probably would put them as favorites, just based off of the experience of the team, and also just the fact that they had an easier route throughout the actual playoffs here. So I would maybe potentially favor them just based off numbers, seeding, stuff like that. But, of course, everything matters is how you perform on the day when these teams kind of feel like they'll be in a similar place performance-wise.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot of interesting things in the draft as we get into the draft here for game number 1. I think the bans through this first game are going to tell us a lot about how this series will actually end up going, because I think both of these teams have a few power picks that they just seem to put a lot of priority on. I did a little bit of research, as I have to scroll back up through our production chat to go and find it. There it is. XSV really like this brand pick early on in drafts. I think in both of their previous series, in semis and quarters, they ended up first picking Brand and sending him bottom lane in both of their game 1s. So I wouldn't be shocked if it goes either banned throughout the series because Glacial doesn't want to deal with Brand for Kush, or they just gets first picked game 1.
Yeah, and it's also a flex pick. You could still play at support, you could play at mid, you could play at jungle, so it kind of makes sense just to play it. Hey, first pick, we can flex this to literally every role except for top, but maybe even we'll see it in Crush's/Chronix's hands. We'll have to see how that actually goes. We're going to see Zyra, the other kind of AP flex pick, get banned away here. So probably just saying, hey, we'll play the brand in the game 1 where the stakes are much lower. This is going to end up being a long series if we go to 5 games. Flex, it being fearless, of course, is going to mean there's a lot of deep champion pools you're going to need to access at that point. We are going to see Ziggs locked away here immediately, which does usually entail an Ezreal answer, as we are seeing the Akali on the other side. So seeing it blind is interesting, but you do have Mel and Ahri both banned out already. The kind of other pick that you wouldn't want to play Akali into is usually Galio. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it. because you have the Ziggs as well. So you already have the wave clear. You don't need to really worry about that from mid. Having a global pressure would make sense. We do see Wukong paired up with it, which also kind of, hey, Xin Zhao Galio kind of seems like the move here, as we do see that
It
locked
feels
in
pretty good.
immediately. And then Xin Zhao is kind of the traditional counter pick into Wukong, but you could always do something like more of a hyper carry style into the Wukong and really punish the fact that he doesn't farm as fast, doesn't get around the map as well, and it will be
This was
Zahen.
the other thing. Yeah. In my notes in the game prep, it's something that has been banned out a lot against Excessive throughout the entirety of this tournament has been both the Ziggs and the Zahen. I'm a little surprised to see Glacial just give them both away early on, but I think they're just saying, okay, you're going to have it for one game. It doesn't matter. We either have a plan against it or we're willing to drop a game to get both of these out of the pool so we don't have to waste span on it later in the series. I like the idea. It's just going to be a matter of how can we execute on it, as immediately next phase of bans, Glacial are going to ban away the Vayne, respecting Crucius's ability to play these carry top laners, especially if it does end up being some sort of flex around with Mundo, Wukong, and Akali. I wouldn't expect it to be, but, you know, tank versus tank mid lane, if you want to send Mundo versus the Galio and send Akali top lane, you absolutely could.
Yeah, Cledic ban makes sense here. One thing to be kind of mindful here, if you are on Glacial side, is, of course, you are playing Mundo, which you probably just want to match the Zahen. This is usually what happens. You pick another flex for the top lane, and you can kind of go back and forth, and you're just matching. All right, I want the Mundo to be in the same lane as the Zahen. As we do see a Tristana locked in here for bot lane. But I was going to say, you know, one of the picks that has really come up a lot in the meta across the world is Olaf, actually. And you could play that as well to kind of, hey, if wherever you flex the Mundo, we're going to flex the Olaf. That's also a potential you could pick up here. We do see Nautilus makes sense. Tristana has a little bit more difficult of a time against Nautilus since it's a double CC kind of setup. You can probably trap her nonetheless. And we are going to see Ambessa, a different flex, not the Olaf, but still something that you could move around here. So keeping it very open.
Happy to play versus the Mundo at the very least. So even if the flex doesn't end up working, it's not a bad matchup either way.
Yeah, as we do get the Braum here, so just going to be chilling nonetheless, trying to keep the Tristana safe. And, I mean, as far as, like, 1v1 matchups, it feels very favorable for the Jellyfish Jammers. You want to play Galio into Akali. You want to play Ambessa into the Mundo. The only issue is the Tristana Ziggs. Tristana has been solo killing Ziggs a lot throughout the world, so we'll have to see if that still occurs. But Nautilus should be a little bit more free to move on the map, so maybe it could give some windows for some extra kills in the bot lane.
Speaking of that, actually, I'm curious if you've read the upcoming patch notes at all for 26-16. Riot has taken some pretty hefty nerfs over towards the roaming supports. A big nerf towards quest completion, especially early in the game. Pre-level 5, you're having much more of a difficult time actually completing your old quest now. So roaming supports alongside Camille getting a big nerf in general, all coming in the next patch. Exciting stuff, but we're stuck here on 26-15. So for this, roaming support's still around. We're going to be seeing Nautiluses. We're going to be seeing Camille's. I imagine there's going to be some Rels and Leonas as well. Supports are going to be running around the map. If there's a Bard, I won't be shocked.
Yeah, Rakan, stuff like that. It makes sense, and you know, I'm kind of glad we get to see kind of like the full grand finals right before the patch comes in tonight to ruin everything for whoever has grand finals tomorrow. Unfortunately, I don't have the Titan Esports ball knowledge, schedule knowledge to know which league is playing tomorrow, and has the fortune of having 0 pro teams play on a patch.
Yeah, I think we actually don't have another grand finals. I think we are the last league to be doing it.
And this is
Conqueror because their finals tomorrow. Okay.
All right, have fun in Conqueror in that new meta as we get into the best of 5 here for Glacial Esports versus Excessive Jellyfish Jammers. Game 1. Let's get into it.
On to the Rift. Immediately, we're seeing the pings out towards this bottom side. This has been kind of the thing with bottom lane recently. It's been a lot about early brush control and just making sure that you are not giving away anything early. You don't want to give your opponents an inch because they will take a mile.
Yeah, and we have seen some mid laners like try and cheese the bot lane because it's such an influential lane where it ends up being an island, kind of similar how top lane was previously. So having that extra kind of gold as a starting is actually beneficial enough, and honestly with roaming supports, mid lane ends up being the victim a lot of the time anyways. So hey, if you could get the other parts of the map off the ground early, that usually is something we do see, but much more defensive 5-point start here as we see both junglers pathing opposite directions. So it will mean that, you know, Mundo's going to be on the weak side, and I think this is good for the Wukong because Nautilus obviously has the engaged threat over the Braum.
I also wanted to just take a look around the Rift to see runes and summoner spell choices. We do have Exhaust and Ignite in the bottom lane for Kush and Zarkiros, but Exhaust over there for Living Phoenix. So no heals, which I think is kind of a surprise. It feels like bottom laners almost always default to that heal in terms of the support pick. The other thing I want to point out is Hunty is on the Aftershock here on this Galio instead of something like the Electrocute that we've been seeing a lot of Galios take, just to try and be a little bit more aggressive, try and bring out some shocking early game burst. But Hunty's just playing the defensive game versus this Akali.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing a lot more Ignites on the Galios just to be able to get some kills, but you don't really need it in this matchup, as you could see. It's just super
Hunty
favorable for Galio early.
Taking it to him early game, like her with the Dorn Shield as well, still struggling early on. Another combo lands and he will die, but inside the Shroud feeling a little bit safer. It might even force an early recall though, which for Liker does not feel great.
Yeah, you're really not going to get anything. Maybe a Darksteel you'll squeeze out just barely enough gold, but still going to feel pretty bad here as the the wave clear gets a little messed up here by Hunty. Not going to matter too much.
Hunty, nobody saw
through.
it.
Yeah, no one. Definitely not all of us in chat, of course.
Never.
It will be Hollow Radiance most likely here for the Galio just because you are opting for the Aftershock.
I really hope it's not, just because I think these Sunfire items are very not good right now. We are
for
seeing
sure
early
not,
roam
but
here.
it is Aftershock.
It is Aftershock, but I wouldn't mind just seeing the Rocket Belt early. Like her is going to lose a ton of HP here. Still holding on to that flash, so not feeling too threatened just yet. All the engage was already used, but like her already burned that TP getting back to lane. In the meantime, top lane, Cretius finds first blood.
Yeah, a little bit of a solo bolo on the top side. Mundo not respecting the Mbessa damage as... I mean, if there's a champion that's going to surprise you with random damage, it's probably this one. So... a little bit unfortunate on Y's side just to lose an early death here, but honestly not the worst. There was no lane crashing in, so it's kind of just a death minus 300 in favor of the Mbessa, and then, you know, just ends up being a positive play in that way, as we do see CS numbers so far being pretty normal. Actually, even despite the kind of advantage that Hunty had in this early trades, he's kind of sacrificed some minions here to get there, so a little bit of a CS advantage over to Liker at this point.
Nothing too bad for him just yet. Hunty will have the rest of this wave to pick up, so it should pretty much even out, especially if Liker can't get close to these last couple minions. So far, CS advantages all null. It's 0-0s across the board, essentially. But I think the momentum's still ever so slightly in favor of the Jellyfish Jammers. I think just getting that solo kill mentally for your top laner, especially in a matchup where they should be winning like this, it always feels good.
Yeah, I mean, pickaxe back on first back for Mbessa. The Mundo is never playing the game, never walking up to wave ever again. You're just sitting here throwing cleavers for the next 15 minutes till your jungler helps you. So we'll have to see if that ends up, you know, changing at all, but I can't imagine it will. Mbessa pretty much only gets stronger after first item completion, so that early game where her cooldowns are really long is really the only time you can heavily exploit her, and then afterwards it needs to be a full team commit, which they have the resources to do so with the Akali and the Mundo and the Wukong, but it will require ultimates, and those are some very important ultimates you're going to have to burn, so they better be fruitful when they come up in just a second here.
Speaking of those ultimates, we are starting to see level 6s hit across the board. Liker and Hunty, the first to do so, alongside Cretius up there on the Mbessa. Dragon might be started here, as Murda's gonna, at the very least, leash it out, and I think with no vision on this, might just be free for Murda, actually.
Yeah, there was a question mark ping there, but there really is no timer that they could have exploited here, so pretty much just a good call from Murda. Just seeing Galio back in mid, says, alright, this is my timer, no TP on that champion, and Zehen was on the top side. I'm not sure if he got spotted, but just intuition, if anything, so...
We'll have vision. Kush not level 6 yet, but Jabber's still a ways out. Dragon should just be smited down here by Murda. Bomb is going to come through. Smite does land. Now Hunty stuck in a bit of a 1v4. Zarkiros is going to flash in and get the hook down, but it's not at the right target. Ulti out for Hunty, but nothing doing. Hunty goes down. Nice two-man pull from Jabber, but not much else to do there. No extra follow-up. A couple of resources burned, but a pretty big win for Glacial there.
Yeah, Hunty just not flashing away fast enough, so just gets caught out by the concussive blows of the Braum and gets taken down, which is pretty bad, I'd say, for tempo, because now it gives Wukong space in the jungle, and Zehen kind of just has to catch up from now, so Really well played here is Y. Has to be
Quick
careful.
execution. Ignites down as well. Y taking a lot of damage. Those Kyrenex had the damage to finish it off. The last Ignite can't finish it. Maximum dosage from Mundo makes it happen. He will walk away.
Yeah, Crush is barely missing some of the most crucial abilities, that Q1 as well as W2. So Y, good movement with the Ghost to be able to get out of that one. And feel good at least to be able to survive and catch this wave. When you go down there, that is even further of a gold advantage over the Ambessa.
Do you think it's pretty favorable for Y to get both the Flash and the Ignite out of Cretius there on the top side? Because now the Ambessa, despite, you know, still being Ambessa, has a ton of dashes, that percent health damage, will still shred through. It's a lot less threatening, and it's also an angle for Murda to try and find an angle in. One last dash, especially that big Flash, it can be a really big deal in making a gank like this happen.
Yeah. Wukong positioning towards mid. Does have the Cyclone right now. Liker can get traded on.
Flips and Batanti, feeling pretty healthy. We'll be going towards what I imagine is that Hollow Radiance, like you said. I don't personally like it. I think the Sunfire items, they're getting a buff next patch, but for now, they're still really, really weak. They do not provide as much, both defensive stats and offensive, like, wave clear ability, as just, like, having a little bit of AP or having some more tank stats would do for your kit.
Yeah, for sure. I just think it's a side lane option. All right, I want to match the Mundo and the Akali in the late game in the side lane, and unfortunately, that's the only item that can satisfy that condition.
I see the logic behind it. I'm not happy about it, but I do see it. As Jabber is up here on the top side, Y potentially in trouble. Does have the passive on, though, so the pullback will not get any value. Y able to just walk away now on the bottom side. Murda with the response gang. Zarkyros has no flash, no chance to get out. Dead bot and picks up his first kill of the game.
Yeah, Glacial so far playing pretty clean around just when they actually commit to something, they find good value out of it. So really good from them just to be able to kind of generate this passive value despite maybe the lanes being a little bit less opportune than they'd like. So now we do see Grubs clearing on the top side, so there will be an objective over to the Jellyfish Jammers, who've been kind of starved out of this one so far. But, you know, for them, I think the timer is less important. Ambessa's a hen is going to always be a disgusting teamfight core, and you have the Nautilus engaged, so really it's about, all right, if Akali and Wukong are really strong and can burst through either the Zahen or the Ambessa in time, the fight should be favorable. So you also have the Braum for some extra CC and protection. So there's definitely angles, it's just you want the lead for sure.
I think the big worry for the Jammers in this game is this Mundo. You have not a ton of tank shred outside of the Ambessa, and I think you'd rather have the Ambessa either focusing down the Akali or the Tristana, as Arcturus gonna get forced out of the jungle here. I think Phoenix doing a good job of growing up with his own jungler. But I think this Mundo could be a problem if this game gets late enough that Y just is kind of unkillable, because Kush can be itemized against as much as Leandry's plus Void Staff is a good combo. It's not a perfect tank shredding combo, and you don't have a normal, you know, ADC that builds board plus board doms, and then the enemy top laner just cries because you're not tanky anymore. Eventually, Y is going to just be kind of unkillable. As speaking of unkillable, Cretius in trouble here as Y does plenty of damage, but Cretius does as well! Turns it around! Wins the 1v1!
Yeah, well played there. I was saying, if Ambessa could get cooldowns here, this will be fine, and guess what? The cooldowns did come back up, so timing just not there for Y, but really close engagement there. If Cretius dies on that side lane 1v1, that is a disaster, because that is your one strong lane you get to play around in this early game. It's now Liker looking for bot lanes. Arkyros has flash, should be safe, but does not get the control ward, so good look at least from Liker here on a good timing. May only lose one minion.
Makes life a little bit more difficult for this Jammer's bottom side, because this is a lane that doesn't really want to interact very much. They kind of want to just poke. But at the same time, Nautilus is like, I have to throw hook. My life is just throw hook. I don't know anything else but throw hook. So it feels a little awkward, especially now that Tristana does have that first item completed. I don't like seeing Collector, but I know people build it. It's still the first item completion. It's still a lot of stats. Kush doesn't have that, what I imagine is going to be Leandry's, given the itemization. I think I'd prefer Blackfire Torch, but I think the Leandry's is good enough.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time people are ending up on that item just because, I don't know, it gives a good amount of stats.
The proc damage is a little bit of dopamine.
Yeah. for sure. As we do see Drag, they have a good position here, but the re-engage, if they decide for it from Murda, should be pretty scary to deal with. Hunty now trying to look for the...
No flash on that Wukong, but Hunty is going to take a lot of his health out, down to about 2/3. Dragon down to 3k. They're looking for an engage in. They've got it. Glacial Fissures there from Living Phoenix. Finds a great combo, but in comes Jabber Jabber with the damage. They found Living Phoenix. Do they have enough damage to finish on the Braum? They do not. And now Liker in the backline gets exhausted, but Murda's the one to get into the pit and smite the Dragon. A great steal. There goes Kush over the wall. A double kill over to the Tristana. Dead botting doing his work. Jabber has the passive on, so should be able to get something done here, unless the rest of the team just fully disengages from him. Waits out that timing. Beautifully played by Glacial.
Yeah, really well played by Glacial, but honestly, really poorly played by Jellyfish Jammers. The target selection was just super off. I saw the Nautilus go towards the... You'll see it here, but Nautilus ults the Braum despite Liker jumping in as a Kali, and honestly, I think that just instantly loses them the fight. As we do see how the engage actually started, they're lining up for this Braum ultimate. They said, all right, we'll give it to you. And then the ultimate doesn't come through on Liker. It goes onto Living Phoenix, which hits no one else. So Kush can't really join this fight, doesn't want to deal with the Akali damage on top. And unfortunately, there just isn't enough damage to cut through this Wukong on the tail end with some nice footwork from Murda, who gets the drag as well, and then deadbotting free to hit at the very end of this fight.
That's a tragic way to lose the Dragon as well. If you get the Dragon but lose the fight, you can at the very least, like, justify it in your mind of like, oh yeah, we didn't get the kills, but we got the objective, that's good. You lose either one or the other, you're feeling okay. You lose both in a situation where you had control of the pit, feels nightmarish. It's not a great spot to be.
Yeah, for sure. And that puts a lot of the item break points now in favor of Glacial. We see that the Hex Tech complete over on the Akali, Triforce on the Wukong. And, you know, we already saw Tristan on the Collector, and now just immediately going towards the BF Sword as well, so...
Do you know how much damage a Hextech Gunblade does?
It's, I mean, the active...
scaling on this item is, on the active, it's frankly absurd. I think it's, like, at
early game, it's like
level
95 to 110,
yeah, but I think
somewhere
even
in
at
that
this
range.
point in the game, it's like 200 plus, is it? Yeah, 265 at level
okay.
11. This item is kind of absurd.
Yeah, oh, well... Yeah, that is pretty good,
Active
but...
point-and-click unavoidable damage as Precious losing the trade here to Liker, who's just got the perfect execution! Yakali's on a killing spree, she's got her Dark Seal, Liker's feeling good.
Yeah, 8 stacks on the Dark Seal. Hunty now finding Murda, but, you know, what we talked about earlier, Hollow Radiance not exactly the damaging item to actually deal with a Wukong like this. As we do see a little bit of action towards the bot side, we really haven't seen Galio Ultimate used in a fruitful manner here from Hunty, so it's been pretty quiet for the Galio, despite kind of being the champion that you want to be pressuring early game, especially once that level 6 hits over. Deadbotting, though.
Gonna get a ton of damage. Nice satchel charge, and that's shut down gold over to Kush. Living Phoenix gets a great Glacial Fissure off, but might just die here on the dive if they have enough damage. Hunty steps up too far forward. The Glacial Fissure slow gets him killed. It's a 1-for-1, but shut down to the Jellyfish Jammers.
Yeah, at least getting something on there. Deadbotting playing really aggressively and gets punished for it, assuming the buffer will come through, but as I said earlier, Nautilus, 2 layers of CC is going to be very annoying for the Tristana, even with the buffer, so gets knocked out of the sky and it's taken down there, as we do see a little bit of turret damage on the mid lane, and then Crush a little bit extra time to get back into this lane here. Eclipse completed, so pretty big power spike, but we do see the Warmogs on the other side, so now I could just play these short trades and then immediately disengage for the healing factor after, so gonna be pretty unbothered from here on, unless it's a full commit from a couple members of Excessive. Hold comes through.
A little too late, though. Liker will manage to escape with that Shuriken Flip and the Shroud. And I have to echo your point that you already said previous, as Murda's going to look for an engagement. Hunty's not exactly the target they wanted on. Aftershock now down, though. They can start to burst through this health bar as Murda's going to start that spin to win Cyclone. Looking for a little bit more damage. Jabber finishes off the Rift Herald in the meantime, but they've already found one. Hunty trying to get out, but nothing doing for him. Liker finds one. Murda finds the other. Jabber escapes with his ultimate. They get Herald, but at what cost?
Yeah, they just don't want to go into the Braum like that, so they just call off the fight despite having their 2 big beefy brawlers on the top side that could have potentially maybe look for a perfect execution and look for a fight, but maybe it just doesn't even look that good, even if you clip someone like Liker here, as we do see how the replay comes in. Hunty getting interrupted here, still no flash from that engagement from before. taken down very low after a full commit on the Nautilus. Pretty much a free engagement there, and they just make the call to peel off here on the top side.
It's getting a little bit more rough for these Jellyfish jammers. I think a little bit less jamming and a little bit more winning needs to be in their strategy. Kush trying to get to that second item completion. Does have it in inventory, but waiting for the mana stacks. Akali has those upgraded gluttonous berries. I think it's Immortal Path is the name, and these boots are disgustingly efficient.
Yeah, I mean, I'm favoring the B word. It feels broken sometimes for sure on the correct champion. So definitely has gotten toned down a little bit since the first initial launch of the item. So not exactly as crazy, but still definitely something to deal with. One thing that is a concern towards the mid to late game here for Glacial is that they don't really have wave clear. So if they're going to be winning these engagements, that's pretty much the only way they're going to gain a lot of value here, is Deadbotting kind of caught on an awkward recall timer when the dragon's respawning, so can't actually back for that second item, and they're bursting the Drake here. Murda has to steal.
Yeah, already down to 1,500. Murda can't get into the pit this time. Jabber will finish it off, and now the fight can actually start. It hurt. Nice Glacial Fissure again. They're looking for the backline. Deadbotting's already gone. Precious does so much damage on this Ambessa, but now the front line is here, tanky as can be. Liker inside the Shroud, the exhaust is on, forced to use that perfect execution to go away, not get in. Precious splashes forward for the shutdown gold on the Braum. 2 kills over to the Ambessa, and all the momentum now back in the Jammer's hands.
Yeah, a lot of good gold there, and it was just a good timing, and all 5 members of the Jellyfish Jammers are there as soon as possible, and that gives them a huge edge in that fight, so they will take it and kind of make this gold lead evaporate a little bit. The Akali is still massive, but if they could shut her down for those Darksteel stacks, it would be impactful here. As Deadbotting, you see, plays safe, but the Nautilus, it hits the target this time, and that is a nice chain of CC here with the perfect execution, public execution on the tail end there. And they're able to kite away from the Akali for a bit, which gives enough time for a lot of the members to kind of reposition, and then eventually the exhaust to come through. Pretty good fight here for Jellyfish Jammers.
Yeah, and I think, again, it hinged on them just having control of the pit early and not letting themselves be engaged on. They took the fight first. It was a great ultimate from Zarkuros, and it just netted them a huge advantage. Is now on the other side of the map. Jabber in a lot of trouble. Does have to pass him on. Gets a huge heal out of the ultimate, but 1v4, I don't know exactly how much you're going to get done with your team here as well. Lucius in the area now has so much shielding on the Ambessa. It's so difficult to actually take down Mega Inferno Bomb. Have they turned it around? Gracious on this Ambessa is a monster. Forces the ultimate out of Deadbody, who escapes with a sliver of HP. Liker TP's in, but too little too late. What looked like an easy pick for Glacial turns into a fight win for XSV.
Holy moly, the Ambessa is just that champion right now. The Shojin spike feeling very big here. Jabber, I guess, wants to call the fight, is calling it from all the way right now. Sees 2 people coming, just wants to stack up the passive in time, gets a lot of stacking here, and by the time the kills would come through, it's just a passive here, and then you're going to see how much damage this Ambessa actually gets once the Conqueror stacks up. So we do see initial fight looks kind of rough, but good peel away, and Murda just doesn't have the resources anymore after the dive goes sour, and more than enough damage with the Eclipse procs. And Deadbotting lucky to skate away there.
Yeah, a sliver of HP, I think, is being generous for that Tristana, but escapes with her life. There is no more shutdown gold, actually, for Liker, despite not having lost any deaths there. It's one of the cool new things about the Riot shutdown gold system now. It's dynamic. That's the word I'm looking for. If your team ends up getting a lot more behind in gold, you can end up gaining or losing shutdown gold.
Yeah, but that still is a terrifying Akali you definitely do want to shut down still, even if there is no additional cherry on the top of the kill there. As we are seeing item completions coming through a little bit more, we just see a Bramble Vest, you know, kind of solo committed over to on the Mundo, which feels kind of wasteful.
For Liker.
Like, they don't have to hit onto Y, so I don't think it matters too much.
Yeah, I'm also not particularly worried for XSV, at least as to like how much healing there is. As Liker, he's going to engage with that Gunblade. Jabber is the target. Doesn't have the passive anymore, but still has that ultimate, so still some healing left in inventory. And I think, like you said, they just don't have to auto-attack Y, and that's the only way that that anti-heal gets applied.
Yeah, it definitely is questionable. Maybe just favoring the side lane, going for these short raids, trades onto Crushes, and then eventually healing out with Warmogs, but that doesn't really feel that great either. Do see a lot of people towards this mid lane, and they're just going to start up the Baron in secret. The Tristana and the Wukong just start it, and they're looking for a Kali who's just...
Precious actually kind of losing this trade right now. Still holding on to the public execution and the ignite, but just trying to out-sustain. But in the meantime, there's no vision on this Baron. Zarkarus will finally step in, but it's already down to 9k. I don't think they feel like they have the damage to finish it off, so they will immediately peel away as soon as they are spotted.
Yeah, a little bit too much time with the Tristana going unnoticed, so they'll sniff it out there from Zarkarus, so they won't have to deal with it in this particular scenario. And now we have Dragon in 30 seconds, so that'll be the real big pressure point. But with them committing some time over to the Dragon, a massive, vision gap here on the bot side. The Scryer's Boom gonna miss everyone.
Careful, stepping right into the darkness, and here comes trouble. The rest of the team is gonna come through, but again, that heroic entrance a little too late. Jabber now the one in trouble, has to flash his way out. Nice little counter there from Glacial, and we just haven't seen a lot of value out of this Galio ult.
Yeah, and they're looking for Liker again. They want to get this champion.
Whoa, Flash traded for Flash. Liker manages to escape, but no Flash on the Akali is going to negate some of her backline access.
Yeah, they did give a little bit of space for Murda to sneak into this banana brush. You got to be really careful of Cresius just clicking that public execution on one of your core carries who have no Flash right now.
I think
follow-up's going to be a little bit sparse, but
they have the reaction time to get away from it, as now XSV with control of this river again. Glacial do not want to let them keep it. Dragon got started up, so the aggro's still on. Living Thing is just going to walk in here, but Precious will do a ton of damage to him, but now maybe stuck in this 1 versus 3, exhausted and stunned up. Has to flash up, but does have the shield for himself. Is now Murder and Wire into the backline. They're looking for the damage, but Jabber is not killable. Cresius is neither. Murder goes down, and now with no smite, Liker in his backline trying to get something done. Already used both hits of the perfect execution, but Dead Body finds a kill, is in a good position. Hunty's going to get the stun of it. Jabber just deletes him off the map. No chance for it to come through. Liker escapes from the Mega Inferno Bomb with a sliver of HP, and the Dragon goes to XSV.
Yeah, well played on the fight there. They think they find Cresius on the beginning of that fight, but unfortunately they just don't have the burst damage since Liker doesn't want to full commit the combo before the fight actually really kicks off. So we'll just skate away and make it out here as we do get a replay on how that actually went down. They think they have a pick here with the Blast Plant plus the concussive blows of the Braum, but you'll see a good buffer come through on that public execution. You see now, just immediately goes on a Liker, does get exhausted, so the damage is going to be really low on the exit, but there just isn't enough burst immediately afterwards. And now you just have Murda in No Man's Land, who does do a good job of stalling, but if you can't finish off these healers in the Zahen and the Ambessa, that's just going to be a long fight that you can't really win out on that one, and the passive comes up for Jabber, so there really is no chance that this fight turns around from here. Yeah, but Dead Body getting caught.
Too far forward there. I liked the positioning there when the team was there in front of him, but as soon as Living Phoenix and Y start backing off, he has to find a way away.
Yeah. And now, I don't think the lead's going to matter here for Glacials. They are down now 5k gold, or not 5k, 500. Oh, excuse me. Math is hard on the end of a day.
Not that far, surely.
No. But that does mean that, that condition of, hey, if your Akali's really strong, it won't really matter. Like, it's fine. You have a condition to play the fight. Now you really just do have to rely on those bigger teamfight ults and the fact that Mundo takes a long time to kill. But the damage is going to be really hard to execute back onto the other side because everyone's not super tanks like Mundo, but definitely still very tanky to deal with. And they found Murda.
Yeah, Murda uses the clone, uses the flash, but that depth charge will still find him no matter how far you dash away. Jabber's going to get the chase down. A nice hook in from his Archeros will guarantee the kill. A killing spree for the Zahen.
Lane. The Galio's getting jumped on by the Tristana right now. Not sure how that's going.
Canceled. Deadbotting will find that. Traded 1-for-1, but I think the positioning a little better for XSV here is they're going to put the pressure onto Liker as well. You see that dive going to start to come to fruition there on the bottom side.
Yeah, this Tristana, though, you could push 2 turrets here, but they have the Ziggs on the other side, so who pushes faster? The 2 champions that are just well known for it, as it looks like they're not going to commit for it.
We'll get to see exactly how this pick happened, as I think Hunty probably just went a little too aggressive here.
Yeah, just looks for it, doesn't expect the Braum in the area. Living Phoenix, good bait there. Okay, on the picture-in-picture, though, Cresius is kind of looking towards his inhib, but everyone else has committed for the turret. they get inhib, that is pretty good for them, but it's going to end up being just inhib turrets for both these teams, and they both walk out, but they want the chase. The TP's coming through from the respawn
He
Hunty.
wants his revenge. They do spot it on that blue trinket. Headbotting with his 2 bodyguards trying to get him out. Jabber Jabber on the side as well.
No
Murder's
Cyclone.
on the way. No Cyclone available for the Wukong just yet. Jabber, maybe a little too aggressive, can lose a lot of HP immediately, forced to use that ultimate defensively. That's a pretty big cooldown loss for the Zehen. That's a lot of healing gone.
Deadbotting has to be careful here. If someone spots him, he just flash over the wall. Oh no, okay. Not gonna have that kind of bloodthirst. Zarkiro, if he had the reaction speed, that would have been a dead Tristana 100%. So pretty tough there.
Down. I don't think this guy's the target you want to chase down. He's gonna throw the depth charge though. Why? Yeah, they have the time. They're gonna throw the cooldowns. He's got the maximum dosage on. Do they have the damage to finish off? Yeah, they do. Jabber Jabber on a rampage. I was gonna say, before that pick happened, Kush has not gone for the Leandre's build that I kind of expected out of the Ziggs, so I was worried about, oh, are they gonna be able to get through? Why? Do they have the damage? I forgot, Zahen's a champion in League of Legends. He shreds tanks. There we go.
I love max HP damage. But also this is Luden's.
Damage is great.
Yeah. And I you know, this is Luden's Shadow Flame, so a little bit more of a bursty build than anything for the Ziggs. Really trying to build off of the, you know, Nautilus clicks R, I click R, they die type of gameplay. So
just go for the full burst. I mean, if it works, it works.
Yep.
I think the big thing that the Jammers are worried about now is just Liker on this Akali. We haven't seen him have too much success in these past couple fights, but you give him even a frame of time to get onto this backline, still with that 10-stack Dark Seal, 2.5 items. This Akali will burst your carries faster than you can blink.
Yeah, this fight coming up is going to be pretty impactful. Gold is dead even at this point, as Jabber now has the GA as well, so going to be really resilient in these fights. As do see why. Just getting a little bit frisky here on that banana brush, trying to find something, but with passive gone, will mean that nothing will come of it. Zarkiros attempts.
A little wide. Dragon has spawned, and the thing with the Jammers losing the early dragons, as Murda is going to eat a lot of damage here. Public execution over the wall does find him, clips him just right. Hook in for Zarkiros, guarantees the kill. Crushes on a rampage now on the Ambassa.
Yeah, and with your jungler gone, that is a guaranteed dragon here. Third Infernal, if they want it here for the Jellyfish Jammers.
You lose the early dragons now. You get to stack all of these offensive stats. A gamble, obviously. You don't know that it's going to be Infernal Soul, but it worked out for them.
I mean, with it being Mountain and Cloud, you're like, I mean, no matter what Drake here, as long as it's not Infernal. As long as it's not Chemtech, we're chilling, and it wasn't Chemtech, so.
Even Chemtech, I think you're fine with. Heal and shield power is pretty darn good, as Crash is going to get into the backline, force the ultimate out of dead body. It's in the wrong direction, but he gets him into the tower. That's shut down over to the Tristana. Now Liker on the backline is getting CC'd up, and there's the damage from Kush. Bouncing bomb, picks it up, now Living Phoenix in trouble as Jabber's flashing forward on top of him. Flash in for the taunt as well, finds 2 wide. Burst on the run, he's got the maximum dosage on. He'll heal so much. Can they actually shred through the wound to health bar this time? Because I think the answer might be no. They're trying so damn hard. He's now at half HP. Dead body still in his backline. Now Jabber gets into the backline. A massive ult for the double kill. Picks up the third. Waited just for the right time. And the Jammers are going to open up the base.
Yeah, Jabber with a massive ult there, but Kush also comboing the damage at the perfect time. Deadbotting just gets one shot unexpectedly. And now the base is open against the Ziggs. If they could translate this into another kill on a Liker who has to play extremely careful on the respawn, this could be a disastrous finish here of game 1, but we will see the replay how it started off. They want this fight, but remember, their engage is really bad here for the side of Glacial, so they just kind of have to force it hard, and with exhaust coming down on the Liker, there's no threat on Kush. They do a good job of peeling out Cresius on the other side, but I mean, you'll take the Akali for the Ambessa trade. Those are the 2 strong members in this game, and with Jabber finishing up the Drake, it gives them enough time to actually finish out this fight, and you'll see how Deadbotting actually goes down here after they eventually chunk down Y, and Murda also comes back again.
Take him down from half HP? Does it do that much damage?
I don't think so. I think someone clipped. Nope, it just killed. Okay, yep.
It just kills it. Oh my god!
I thought Ziggs got in on that, but nope. Literally just the Zehen doing 800 damage. Chills.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good damage for that champ, as he's now level 16, so the next ultimate is going to hit even harder, as XSV playing it out smart and slow. They're getting control over this Baron side. They know that they have their pace of play with these 2 inhibitors down. It's that bottom and middle inhibitor. Teams love to take that right before they go to Baron.
Yeah, we do see now a trap play. The vision has been consistently better here for Jellyfish Jammers throughout this one, but I think it's also just they have the engage pressure. And Living Phoenix now.
Well, Phoenix sniffs it out. Nicely played there. Understands the death rush could be there and does not fall for the bait.
Yeah, but they could just rinse and repeat that for the next 5 minutes until this, or next 3 minutes while this Drake is pending a respawn. So Hunty now getting fought up by Liker, but gotta be careful to overcommit.
Yeah, Blue Trinket spots out the chase. They do not want to walk into the dangerous darkness, so they will instead walk away. But it is going to buy XSV time to turn towards this Baron again, as now they're going to start it up.
Yeah, this is a pretty safe play because I think at this point, Glacial says, well, I hope they're just trap playing for the next 2 minutes. But no, they are just committing to the Baron, so will be a free take on this one, as they are trying to push out the bot lane because they see a lack of members here. But Galio already in the area with the wave clear, which I already said would be a problem for the composition of Glacial.
Here, Hunty does have that Justice Punch, though, so really difficult to actually get him down with the Aftershock on as well.
I mean,
it tickles him a little bit.
It's like all defensive items. You have Zanya's coming up soon. You have Imperial, which gives HP, so really, really tanky on the Galio despite anything. I think it does.
No, not anymore.
I thought it said give 200 or something. Oh.
Huh. No, it's AP, ability haste, and mana regen, if I remember right.
More you know. But with that, we do have a pretty good gold lead here for 4K on Jellyfish Jammers. So
there's still threats you have to be worried about. This Kali, 3 items now, still scared. Tristana, 4.5 now with the Vamp Scepter in inventory as well, 100% crit. If Deadbotting gets a little bit of uptime in these fights, he can shred through these members. There's not a lot of tank stats. It really is just the double death stance from that topside duo, which, granted, taking 30% less damage is really good. But Tristana does a lot of damage. 30% might not be enough.
Yeah. The only concern is the level gap. 4 levels from top to bot, and then obviously level 17 on Zehen in the jungle. So really, really powerful here for Jabber. And now we're going to see Ziggs destroy some turrets.
Yeah, this is the siege power of Ziggs. It's kind of what you want to do with Tristana, but you do magic damage, so it's a little bit better.
Yeah, and the nice thing here with the timing is 36 seconds means the next wave, by the time it crashes, will have double supers, and that's when the soul spawns. So if anything, you know, XSV doesn't even have to really go crazy on this. They could just bait them out a little bit and then peel off when they feel it, but the wave's coming in and no wave clear.
Yeah, they still have Baron buff. They still have the siege. Jabber's going to start chunking out that turret. Precious up there with him as well. Glacial has to pull the trigger on something here where their base is just going to get destroyed. Wise in the front line now, maxing the dosage on. Glacial Fissure, a lot of value for Living Phoenix, but now Crushes onto the back line, looking for the damage on Didabody. There's the ultimate from Galio. Will finally get some value, but the game is already over. Murda gets deleted into the back line by Kush. Liker, though, looking for some damage, trying to get into that back line, but the shielding, the healing. Crushes just doesn't take damage, man. Jabber will finally pick up some kills. Huge amounts of damage from the Zehen. Make it 3 for him. Deadbody finds Hunty, but it's consolation as XSV will take game 1.
Yeah, well played on the finish there. They decide, hey, they don't have wave clear, which is true. They just have the Tristana, who, I mean, you could say has some, but really it feels pretty miserable there. So they'll just exploit that fact, triple wave stacked with the Baron, and take it home in that one. Yeah, this is that was a game of all time for sure. Very close throughout the first 20 minutes, with a couple leads going the way of Glacial, and then eventually the tide finally stops, and the Jellyfish Jammers come out on top in game 1 with, I'd say, a more easy to execute, slightly better draft just because you have the lane advantages early on. They just didn't really work out as well besides the top lane, where Mbessa gets the solo kill, but you can't really leverage that into something more since Mbessa really wants to save the perfect execution in the early game. So ends up being a positive play nonetheless, and eventually the dragon fight that kind of doomed the game happens, and the Jellyfish Jammers take it away from there.
Yeah, I do think the big thing for me in these drafts is just, it's something that we talk about all the time. It's go buttons. It's just the fact of, like, how do you actually engage a fight? And for Glacial, you're really relying on Murda to find a good angle for a Wukong ultimate, and then Living Phoenix also gets a follow-up Glacial Fissure, but for XSV, it was very simple. It was just, hey, we can walk forward with Galio, with Zahen, with Ambessa, with Nautilus. Somebody's going to press a button and a fight is going to start.
Yeah, and that's something really nice. The only person they really had to do that was Murda with Cyclone, who was just not tanky enough to do that effort. And then also Living Phoenix, who had some really good ultimates and played, I'd say, a really solid game on Braum. But there's an extent to the champion there. You can't really, if your team can't finish the job there, it's always going to be a little bit more difficult. So that will result in them going down in game 1. But it is only game 1, so lots of league still to be played.
One game down of the potential 5 that we could have tonight. XSV takes the lead in the series. But when we come back, we'll get ready for draft for game number 2. And at some point later on in this series, we will also be announcing the awards for the Titan Vanquisher split. So if you don't want to miss those, stay right here. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are getting ourselves ready to get underway for game number 2 between XSV Jellyfish Jammers and Glacial Esports. Tied. I'm still brooding. That's still GG. And what a game number 1 to start things off. That felt like very classic Jellyfish Jammers.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a little bit of over-indexing in some fights there, but ending up finding the big fight that matters and then snowballing it really effectively with kind of just a better engage there and just able to translate that into a victory here. We do have, of course, now the opportunity for Glacial to change things up. It is exactly the same side, so won't have to worry about anything like that. And usually for these teams, it's a lot of locked bans. Maybe one gets flexed, like, oh, we'll leave this open so we can pick this. It's going to be Hui hitting the table once again, and the Nocturne as well. They don't really want to deal with a Nocturne Ori, who I feel like on stream, we haven't seen a Nocturne Ori in so long, just because it's been banned forever.
Yeah, people are always banning Nocturne. Orianna is getting left up, and I'm really shocked that it's not getting picked, just because Orianna is a good mid laner right now. She doesn't need Nocturne to survive. She is just good.
Yeah, we do see Ahri, kind of the other good mid laner here, just get banned out, as well as the Mel, who is a bit of a flex pick, so gives you a little bit more draft credence there. Poppy, also pretty much the most banned champion around the world right now, so makes sense to just take that away as well. This is where you could see a roaming support just locked in immediately here for Jellyfish Jammers, but you know, when you do play Camille, you leave yourself open to something like a Shen, but it's going to be that brand that you talked about in the last one, so makes sense. This is a signature champion for multiple players, but Kush does like to have it in his hands in this one, but it could also go to Jabber, it could also go to Zarkiros if anything, but it's going to be a quirky lock-in, a strong laner, makes some sense, but you don't really outrange the brand that much, so you're still going to be taking a lot of poke as you walk in for the damage threat. So, you know, at least it gives you some movement in case it's an engaged support behind it. Xin Zhao will be the lock-in here, so there is some potential of a carry jungler once again, but I'd be surprised to see it. I think I'm expecting a tank or a Trundle.
Trundle is a pseudo-tank at the very least. I'm really surprised with how Glacial's been playing these first 2 drafts, just because in my notes, I believe, like, the 3 things I have written down is XSV likes to pick brand early on in draft. They like to pick Ziggs, it's been permabanned against them. They like to pick Zahen, it's been permabanned against them. And in these first 2 games, we've seen all 3 of these champions get through. Now, granted, it's Fearless, so they won't be seeing them again, but it feels like you're giving XSV kind of just exactly what they want in the draft, and I wonder if there's a plan for it.
Yeah, just seeing Kled get slammed here makes a lot of sense. It gets away from Y playing any ranged champions that we did see Y on last week, as well as some of the super tanks that kind of don't really have that much dueling threat. So we end up on a kind of a weird scenario where Malphite looks really good here. Of course, that means Glacial has to ban away the Sylas. That's just what you have to do in that kind of scenario. But at least it's a good option into Kled, since it should equalize that lane to some degree. If Kled gets an early kill, though, that could very quickly change, but assumedly so, should be pretty chill, as we do see Aurora get banned out, which is a little bit different than last time. They don't want the extra mobility, extra engage from the mid lane to compound with the Malphite ultimate you already have, so they will take that away, and now it's going to be a Maokai support, which has been picking up in popularity with both... Yeah, with the Nami ban, so it makes sense. It's just an annoying champion. It makes Brand's life difficult. It can match any of the roamers you could potentially pick, and we're gonna see Taric Brand.
I love this Taric pick. This is a great spot. Glacial has shown nothing but engage, forward, Xin Zhao, Malphite, Maokai. They all want to walk in. Who does great against champions that walk in? It's Taric and the Freljordians. We have Trundle and Anivia as well. This is a great draft.
Yeah, now I think Glacial's only option is to play something really, really long range, but they banned out the Hui themselves, and they said, screw it, we're going lock. Last pick here, we're going to try and punish the Anivia with a really aggressive champion and just try and win out on this one. I was really expecting something like a poke champ, like a Vel'Koz, or like a Xerath. Yeah, but it's just go lock into Taric, Anivia, Trundle, and Kled.
Does he get to play the game? Is he allowed?
We'll have to see. I mean,
Liker's gonna have to pop off.
I mean, you know, and Kush is not above picking exhaust on Brand. He just did it on Ziggs. He is not above that. And if that happens, that's gonna be a really tough game for Liker. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what the cook is here for the lock. It's like, okay, I'm gonna try and kill Anivia pre-level 6, and if I don't, the game is over for me.
Yeah, like, you don't have wave. This is going to be, Liker's going to, as soon as he hits 6, he's just never in lane anymore. He's playing permanently for Rome. He's saying, all right, Hunty, you have the lane. It's yours. You can take my tower if you want, but I'm going to try and farm your bottom lane, farm your top lane. I'm going to try and just get kills across the map and make your life miserable. And that's a very coin flippy strategy. Where I look at SSV, I see consistency in team fights with Brandon Nivea. I see Kled for both side lane and engage. I see Tarek for disengage. Trundle is just a solid frontliner. This feels great for XSV.
Yeah, I'm flabbergasted by the lock pick. You know, we slam it. It just, I mean, hey, if you get fed enough, nothing matters, right? But the chances of that happening in coordinated play is very low. And the only thing that really is going for Glacial here is, all right, we got Maokai ult for like an engage, and maybe we bait Tarek ult, and then we have re-engage with the Malphite ult, plus the lock. Maybe we can make something happen. But you're still going to have to walk through with this Anivia, and that's still going to be a very difficult thing to do. Also, you have decent people who could actually block the Maokai ult. I feel like a lot of the times when I see Maokai find a lot of success is when nobody's really able to walk up and kind of just block the ult, so it ends up being complete disaster if he ever does commit that spell. But we will see how it pans out here in game 2. Kind of a funky draft, but could definitely work out here for Glacial if they play their cards right, but it's definitely not in their favor starting off, as we do see a pretty normal level 1 here. Kush is going to ward out here. Summoner spell choice does, I said he's not above the exhaust, and he picks it as well in this one. And Zarkiros will pick up the heal, so very defensive for the bot lane, which means that's just going to make life a lot more difficult. We do see Cleanse on the side of Deadbotting, primarily for the brand stun, I guess?
I mean, brand stun, Anivia stun, even Tarek stun, honestly. Like, there's a lot of things that if you try to either get too close or get engaged on, you want to cleanse away, so I respect it. I have to start reminding myself of Locke's ability names, because he is still a new champion to me. I haven't casted a game with him yet, so I'm excited to at least get my first chance to cast a Locke combo.
Yeah, definitely a champion that people have been favoring as far as like global competitive play, but we've seen the ups and downs of this champion. You kind of have to be really, really good and proficient at the champion, because if you're not landing the first 2 Qs, yeah, you're going to have a really tough time in most of these trades. So hope to see Liker just fully practice on the champion more than anything. Not the most complicated kit, you know, it's very reminiscent of other champs in the past, but just with some new toys.
It's a resetting assassin. We have seen its ilk before in League of Legends, and we will honestly probably see it again.
Yeah. Definitely an interesting one with the kind of mix of ranged and melee damage, but eventually you got to go in as the lock. You can't play the eternal ranged game, so we'll have to see how that plays out. As at least the wave clear.
Passive, getting the extra bit of damage on there alongside those ritual nails. As I'm getting the ability names in my head now, so I can remember them later. I will forget them, but I'm trying to remember them now.
Yeah, interesting to see that Malphite was able to clear a wave here.
Has the early roam. Jabber's here as well. Liker's in a lot of trouble. He does have the flash, but the pillar's going to force him away. Gets over the wall with the Ashen Pursuit, has the flash away as well. Hunt is going to flash over the wall, but Jabber already has it. First blood to the Trundle.
Yeah, big commitment, 2 flashes in mid, but you'll take that, shutting down the early lock in mid with 3 people committing to it. I'm surprised there was no tell on Zarkiros on this roam. There should have been some sort of coordination there. Hey, this Tarek is on a roam timer, and we can't dive this Brand who is just freezing a wave. So this is perfect timing to die mid. Do not die. Unfortunately, that did not happen, but he also would have lived if there was no Trundle. So it's kind of, you know, extenuating circumstances, but still did not respect some of the roam potential here from Excessive.
Yeah, but now really is the time for Liker to lock in and start making this laning phase work a little better for him, because now with no flash, you're even more potentially a viable gank target. As we do see both junglers here in the mid lane, as Murda's potentially looking for an angle, but Hunty's kind of safe. Does still have the passive, has the wall as well, but they have the burst to come through. Murda will eat a lot of his HP. They get the passive, but that's all they're going to get.
Yeah. I mean, you don't even get, the wave to lose any minions here for Hunty, so not going to feel too bad about it, but it does give you a kill window in a little bit, maybe potentially for Liker, so I still think it's necessary. Since Hunty actually did commit the stun, it was an okay play to make, showing off a little bit of the burst damage if you do end up landing your abilities, so, the potential is there. It's just, a Nivea Egg is not an infinite cooldown. It will definitely be back sooner rather than later. So we do see bot lane, Koosh.
Koosh, he's going to get engaged on. He's the one exhausted. Deadbotting has plenty of damage on this Corki early game. They have to respect it. Flash away from Koosh, but I think he's still going to be chased down. Deadbotting finds it. Liker here for a little bit of cleanup. Will steal the kill on Zarkaros using those ritual nails. Gets that get that big damage and takes the kill.
Yeah, the cleanse paying off there. The exhaust comes through. Deadbotting just cleanses it. And with the heal not available yet for Zarkaros, there really isn't enough survivability for Koosh here.
Really just flash in?
Flash in, he's just standing there. Caught not doing too much, and Cleanse gets massive value in that one, and they find a kill in the picture-in-picture on a Hunty in mid. Repeat dive again. So the lock is off the ground now.
I told him to lock in, he locked in, and now the lock is online.
I will say, if I'm reading that correctly, I think that is a Mastery 7 lock. So at least has put the games in. I'm not sure with the banner changes, but I'm pretty sure that's what that means.
If you're confident enough to pick it here in the Vanquisher finals, I would certainly hope that you have some games on it. It gets the stun on the Murda, but yeah, just so much distance covered by both him and the Zen.
Yeah, nice convergence there on mid. And now we see Living Phoenix and the Brush gonna get spot out Sarkiro, so gonna peel off of that one. Was thinking about going on Koosh, but just walking it out. So far, I'd say you're pretty good with this if you're either team. You know, the lock's kind of off the ground, but also all the rest of the lanes are kind of equalized. Wise doing a good job on the top side for the Malphite, but this is the easier part of the matchup. Oh, speaking of.
Nice flash. We'll get the remount, force the flash out of Y as well, but here comes the charge. Looking for just that little bit of CC, trying to get Jabber in with the movement speed as well. No mana on Y. Nice pillar timing. Crashes will take up the turret, and Jabber will be able to pick up that kill. The last shot doesn't come through. He walks away.
Yeah, no follow-up to be had. Well played there from Crushes with the flash. Definitely surprised with Y picking the Ignite, but it makes sense. You are looking for these kill windows on the Kled early game, and it almost pays off, but nice chase down there with the remount, and they will get a kill on the top side. So getting the Kled off the ground, definitely a good thing. Now we do have Drake spawning up here, or not spawning up, but just getting taken down by Murda, and Koosh kind of zoned off this bot wave. Doesn't know where the rest of the members are. They don't know they're on Dragon at this point, and they're killing mid here. Lock will go down. But they will lose the Dragon for it.
They'll lose the Dragon, but they get the Lock shut down. Jabber gets more gold in his pocket, and then Starksteel stacks off of him as well.
Yeah, and Koosh now is just going to be able to free grab up this as well, since they see Murda and Living Phoenix on that mid wave.
Pillar.
Oh, Pillar plus
Ward. Murda. Hunty, though, is the target. When it becomes lightning in, they're trying to get the damage onto the Anivia, but not enough to come through. Crescent Guard buys some time for Murda, but not that much as Jabber has to subjugate on. But there's the kill for Deadbotting. Shut down over to the Corki. Koosh now in the area is level 6, so if Deadbotting walks up too far forward, it could just be turned around, but they don't want to over-aggress with Liker in the area. No Purgatory available for him, but he does still do plenty of damage. Forced away.
Yeah, Liker not able to pick up anything on the tail end there, as we do see how that mid gank went. But in picture-in-picture, Koosh is getting long chased. Will get called off as they see Zarkiros with the ward. That was almost a disaster if Living Phoenix actually full commits there. Chronic's going to dismount here. Y has ultimate almost up again, so we had to be careful as we can resume that replay here. How Liker went down, just caught between a rock and a hard place. Literally.
It feels so bad.
Yeah, and then right here, look at this pillar. The ward actually adds the extra little bit of buffering with the kind of minion block that I think it just stopped his pathing. Very, very weird manipulation of terrain there. And they eventually will try and look for another thing, but seeing Liker in mid, they decide to call it off. And
not want to overextend. Lock with a lead can do a lot of very disgusting things. I have seen this champion get ahead and just kind of one-shot squishies as he like desires whenever he really wants, honestly. And he does have a slight gold lead in his favor, but even across the board for the rest of the squad, except for in the jungle and top lane, where you see Jabber has a pretty massive lead.
Yeah, Jabber's just been playing really well in these first 2 games, and you expect the Trundle to have a lead, but a 900 gold lead this early on is definitely something that, you know, is going to be pretty hard for Murda to deal with throughout this one. I did want to mention, I always think Locke is just, this is what happens if Echo was designed today, rather than 6 years ago. It's just instead of a defensive ult, it's more of an offensive ult. So we do see fight coming in. Y has ultimate. They're chasing out.
They're looking for Purgatory, doesn't find a target. Y forced to flash out, but Zarkero says the target. Action pursued in. Liker wants to find the damage. It is Y picking up that last hit, but it's immediately traded back as Jabber finds that kill. There's Roygrove still swinging around and kicking. Murda's taking a lot of damage. Hunting flashes over the wall for the damage. They're looking for the Murda kill. They finally lock it down as Precious finds that one. Living Phoenix will be the next to go. Glad going crazy with it, finding 2 axe stabs for the double kill. Wants to find a little bit more. No charge, but Kush is now here. Vision on. They see everybody. There's the Pyroclasm. Finds 1 bounce, but that's all that finds. Kush flashes forward.
Ooh.
Doesn't get the stun. Action Pursuit out for Liker. He'll manage to survive. This champion is just so damn mobile, so difficult to lock down.
Yeah, very good to at least stay alive in that one. Kush almost finding a tail end kill, which would have given them a lot of pressure to just shove this wave and force a big gold loss. As Deadbotting trying to just cancel Kush's recall here, just to be a little bit annoying. Will do so.
Zarkero, you gotta tank that for your teammate. You gotta walk in front of that rocket.
Oh, but they might get engaged on here. Zarkero will just walk it out. Not gonna actually have the trigger pulled on him. As we do finally get that replay here. First grub is taken, so we do see the pressure is kind of on here for Murda to make a play, but they find Zarkiros on the initial W, but can't really go in on that champion when Anivia's in the area, and they turn their sights onto Y immediately. The isolated member, they want to full engage onto him, and they do lose the Taric, but it doesn't matter much when the top laner is down and you have these 2 beefy brawlers just beating you up. And they eventually win out on these team fights that go the distance, and they don't find much else. But yeah, this is looking good so far for Jellyfish Jammers.
The longer the team fight, the better it is for the Jammers, because you have Brand, you have Anivia, you have Taric and Trundle, these champions that thrive in these extended engagements. And yeah, obviously Glacial are no slouches. They have Corki and Zinjao who like these longer fights, but Locke would like the fights to end quickly. I think even Y to a certain extent, especially building towards this larger AP focus, which is going to be Malignant's first, wants these fights to end quickly.
Yeah. And the Drake is spawning in 22. Banana Brush secured so far for Murda, but Jabber is very, very strong. Might have to flash here.
Horns are coming. Purgatory lands on him. He's got the subjugate, so he'll be able to take a lot of damage, but not enough. Executed! His soul pulled in. Lyke is going to be able to pick that one back up as well. A little bit of an ulti reset, but there's still 2-man ulti from Y. Found the bottom lane combo. The Divine Order can't come down in time. Zarkero can't save his 80 carry. A double kill over to Liker. Make it 3 for the Lock. He wants to find a little bit more, but in the meantime, Precious in the backline is making Deadbody's life very miserable. Liker dashes into that stun from Hunty. Now they're going to rock at a hard place. 2v3, but it feels like the favor's still in XSV's hands. Precious is going to get engaged on. Will dismount here as Liker's going to look for the burst damage onto him, but Harness does so much damage. Can he rebound in time? He's back! Liker's now in trouble! He turns it around! 1v2! Y forced on the run! Living Phoenix is well forced away! This Kled champion is a monster! He'll finally die here to the Ignite. Steps up too far forward as Y will finally take him down, and Hunty with no mana can't continue the chase. Oh, these fights are extreme.
Yeah, very, very close on just the knife's edge there, but Kled in an extended fight gets the remount and finds big value. I honestly thought that could have been potentially a Lock pentakill angle, but they just split the targeting a little bit. It definitely looked like it just to start off. They find Jabber on the initial pick, gets the ultimate through, and the damage just isn't there. Hunty, I'm not sure where the Q was, but I guess on cooldown still, doesn't able to stun up 3, and a big ultimate from Y as we do get back from that.
Out. Jabber, though, in the front line with the subject runs very tanky, but not tanky enough. Liker pulls his soul into the Purgatory. A double kill for him. Wants to look for a little more. Pass the damage onto Kush. Exhaust comes down with that Pyroclasm. The burns, the ticks, the damage. We'll find 1. We'll find 2 with the help of Hunty. A nice turnaround there. XSV finds something out of it. They did manage to get the dragon for themselves. That Infernal now in pocket. A very messy exchange.
Yeah, I think he'll take it with the dragon just going 2 for 2 here. Y has just ultimate.
That's a little disrespectful, we'll call it, as he gets caught out here, and Deadbody will pick up some free shutdown gold.
You know, you don't expect the Rock to stick around, but the Rock sticks around anyways. So
You gotta expect the Rock.
You should expect the Rock. That is definitely it. As we get a replay of the previous dragon fight again and how it kind of went on. It's just Y gets a nice ult. Fight's pretty much over. But eventually, Crush's just chases out one, and you know these isolated 1v1s is what Kled really wants, and finds Deadbotting there.
Deadbotting, he's in some trouble down there. He's just gonna get deleted, teleport user there as well. Keep your guys on that replay. I think that bottom fight is already done.
Yeah, and then barely the remount comes in onto Liker, and unfortunately the not enough execute damage left in the pocket, and then Dubstep Ignite from Y.
Picture in picture, Liker's in a lot of trouble there. He has the Purgatory, but it looks like he's just going to get caught here. Can't finish off any kills. Hunty finds him. Y was in the area, but with no ulti, this Malphite isn't going to do too much. Charge in from Precious. Wants to find the damage. Y flashes away, but that bear trap on a rope is still on top of him. Wants to find the stun. Not there, but the Ignite will tick away. Nice wall there again. Is going to force Murder's out with the pillar as well. The Freljordians team up and make Murder's life a living hell. Force him to flash and ult to escape. This combo's foul.
Hunty gonna skate away there, but I mean, Precious is playing so well. Every Q that needs to land has been landing. The bear trap on a rope, definitely finding full value, and doesn't mean Rift Herald is available to be taken. 3K is the lead now for the Jellyfish Jammers. Gonna be feeling pretty good for that one, and yeah, I mean, the items just don't feel strong enough right now. The item spikes are really the next couple items for these champions, as we do see how Deadbotting initially got picked off here. Just gets chased out in no man's land, and Zardyros gets away from an engage from Liker. I'm not even sure how. Just flashes over this wall, I assume. Good footwork. Trundle joins up, and it just finds himself in a bad position.
Yeah, and then there's the double wall again. It's so difficult to actually navigate through these choke points because Anivia Trundle just don't let you move.
Yeah, and then eventually the chase through comes out. Y not able to get away from the ult in time. Bear trap on a rope lands, and more than enough chase through to find the kill. Flash comes in from Hunty, and look at this pillar. It's disgusting. You think you're out, but
into the wall too. It's foul.
Yeah, doesn't find much on the tail end there just because of that Taric ultimate, which, you know, at this point is still a long cooldown, but not actually that crazy. Kush now in a bit of trouble, has to flash this Malphite ult.
There as well, flashes away from Y's ultimate. Frame perfect, it felt like. Zarkaros maybe the sacrifice. He has his own flash, and here's that Pyroclasm. The Rhyolized Bird taking away. Jabber will find Liker, but it's immediately traded back as Liker pulls his soul down to hell. Makes it a 1-for-1, but 4v3? You know, 1-for-1 for XSV. I think XSV are feeling fine about that.
Yeah, Jabber said, "There's 5 people here. I get, you know, I'll finish the kill anyways." And Murda now trying to look for a re-engage, but now is caught in a pretty awkward position. Has the minions to get away there. Deadbotting barely dodging away from the Q.
Not a balanced item. Deadbotting is not allowed to move. Not even mentioning the Anivia or the Trundle.
Yeah, this is why I said Corki doesn't really have a real range advantage over the Brand. Like, it's not real, and you don't, like, as long as Brand's paying attention, the burst combo is not going to matter from the Corki either, so...
I think he might be building Collector second as well, and if that gets finished into a Collector, I have words for AD carry players. And they are not kind. So I will not be saying them on broadcast, but I have words.
I'm just surprised to see Corki could be the one that gets picked. I feel like you just either pick a mage into Brand in bot, or you pick like a hyper carry, like super late game hyper carry with just an enchanter support. Especially because you already had the Malphite locked in at that point, but well, not when the Corki was picked, but you know, on the other side of the
Herald
map
is
Jabber.
spawned up on that bottom side as the Dragon is now on the Rift. Jabber looking for an engage, gets a nice pillar, but this is a little overforced. Charge coming through, Y gets a nice ultimate off, and Jabber's instantly deleted. Murda pulls him in. Now with the ultimate on, it's so difficult to take down, but Precious in the back line. This Kled is such a monster. Kush finds one in the front line, but it's a double kill. And there's the wall again. Lycra forces Action Pursuit over it. Hunty's still able to chase him down a little bit, but Lycra will escape. But it's just teamfight win after teamfight win for XSV. Living Phoenix on the run. Kush and Zarkiros should be able to chase this down. Maybe not, though. With the Flash ultimate, he might be able to escape. I think he's just buying time here. Zarkiros, with that Unsealed Spellbook Ghost on, he's going to start chasing down, and as soon as Aryles gets applied, Living Phoenix is going to get cooked here. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Just going to heal off, tries to get the kill over to the Taric, but not going to come through. But, man, Precious is showing you how to play Kled. This is typical 101 stuff there. Saves the E for when deadbotting actually goes to the wall, and with your Corki dying immediately, you don't have the damage to cut through anybody else after such a large commitment to start this fight off. Jabber feels confident by just clicking R on Amerta, but not that tanky. Luckily, the Terracult comes through, and Locke just doesn't have the momentum anymore with that kind of delay, and just can't find much on the tail end. And Precious just one-shotting deadbotting and finds another one on the final breaths there. And now Baron is on the table for the Jellyfish Jammers to be able to take it. Ghost comes through and Living Phoenix. Delivery directly to Kush.
Yeah, and, I mean, there's just not a lot for him to do in that situation. I feel like at a certain point, you just say, all right, I'm dead here. I have to save Flash and ult because there is going to be a fight in the next 5 minutes. He does have Hex Flash, granted, but I feel like for Maokai, Hex Flash doesn't have as much value as something like a Hex Flash does for like a Nautilus or a Blitzcrank, as Dark Rose walking up a little too far forward here. Does have the locket. Arda is going to get that passive applied to him, but they just want Dark Rose Y in with the unstoppable force. Takes him down.
Did not want to risk anything, and now they want to force the issue. They found Hunty in a really bad spot. Just going to have to outplay here for the Anivia, and that could be Baron here. But the Kled is pushing on the bot side.
So he will buy some time, as Lycra's going to take a lot of damage, but not even close to enough. He got the first. Lycra finds another kill on the lock. He's online, but yeah, Precious in the meantime is in the bottom lane with a Hullbreaker. I don't think he really cares.
Yeah, this is just, you know, put on your earbuds and chill in the top lane. Experience at this point. So strong
Chill
on this
lo-fi
Kled.
beats to split push to or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, and it feels like a lot of the pocket picks here for Jellyfish Jammers, they just don't have the draft resources to be able to get rid of them all, and they just they didn't prepare good answers for it. I feel like if you thought about, you know, okay, very likely Kush will lock in Brand in one of these games, in blind pick, first pick. You just kind of have to have something prepared, and I think the traditional answer is you just pick like Jinx. And you go Jinx Lulu and just say, all right.
Jinx Lulu. You could even go Zeri plus an Enchanter, or like you said, a Mage. Like if Ziggs was already gone, granted, but you have things like Syndra, Victor, who can just match the wave clear and can just stall out the laning phase. But they opted for the Corki, and it just hasn't shown enough value that I feel like it was worth the pick. And I have words for deadbotting and all the other AD carry players who continue to build Collector, but I'm not going to say those words right now because they're very mean. And my mama taught me that if I don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all.
Yeah, and they also kind of strengthen the position of the brand. Another pick that does really well into that champ is Hui, and they've been banning it. So that's one of the good answers just immediately gone, so something they will have to deal with. They really want to engage here.
He's just bounce housed around with these walls. There's nothing that he can do. Stun's gonna land. Another stun's gonna land. Why now in? Finds a two-man ulti. Murder with the crescent guard as well. They found Zarkiros, but the Consecrating still comes down onto the backline. But Jabber just feels confident to continue to press forward. The turn is coming through onto the backline as well. Deadbody will find the kill, but there's a Kled coming from behind you. He's got his iPhone. He's got his headphones in. He can't hear. He gets taken down. Massive amounts of damage for XSV, and they're going to start to open up the base.
Yeah, well played on that fight. You could see how Glacial said they're thinking this is their one chance to make a good fight. You have Kled on the other side of the map, and they want to find it, but it's just so terrifying engaging onto a Trundle Anivia Taric, which is the exact issue we highlighted in the draft. It's just not easy to go towards any of these champions as long as they don't put their big committal options in, and eventually finally, Y finds a good ultimate to just start off the fight. But Hunty lives this engagement. And And then you're just chilling from there. Eventually, Jabber says, all right, I'm taking this in my own hands. The least... This Trundle could not give a damn. It is pretty much just no care in the world. Just, I'm flashing in, I'm engaging fights, even though I'm a Trundle with 0 CC abilities besides Pillar. And he's making it happen.
Last week, if a Trundle can engage a fight with a Flash Chomp, something about the positioning in that fight was wrong.
I mean, is it wrong with the positioning or is it wrong with the draft? It feels like they just don't have a good answer to that.
Both. They just don't have any way to deal with it with Verta now. Again, the walls are just keeping him locked in prison. Liker now already under half HP does have the W. Will get some health back, but Jabber just takes a bite out of him. Does not give a damn about your new champion. He's playing one that was released 20 years ago. He doesn't care. And there goes
sick.
Precious again. Huge damage from this Kled. This champ is disgusting.
Yeah, that is disgusting. No, the thing I saw was Jabber chasing down Deadbotting. Deadbotting flashes over the wall, but the Taric E is already angled in that direction, and it clips him. Very, very disgusting stuff, which we may see in a replay after this game finishes up. But this is a clean one here for the Jellyfish Jammers. It felt like they were in the driver's seat for most of the game, from draft till now, and they will take game 2 here in a very commanding fashion.
Now, I will say, we have seen Glacial Esports in a position like this before. We were here last week. We saw games 1 and games 2.
It's too soon.
And we said, wow, Oversoul looks so clean.
Yeah, there was no way Oversoul was going to lose.
There's no way that they lose game 3. There's no chance. And then Glacial Esports just outlasted them with better drafts and better picks. We've seen them lock in before. It's not impossible to lock in now.
Here's the replay. The position was so bad for Murda. Liker thought, I have to save my Xin Zhao because we will lose Dragon, but not realizing if you die as well, the game is over, as we do see how the fight kind of pans out, and Maokai Q kind of splits up Y and gets Kush away from Deadbotting's damage, and the E, you see, Jabber barely clips Deadbotting on it. Super satisfying stuff there, and eventually they chase down the lone Maokai who lived to finish the game up, and oh, never mind. He lived. I forgot. Congratulations, Living Phoenix. You did indeed live as a Phoenix.
Lived as a Phoenix, but the team died. That was game number 2. And again, XSV just looked dominant both in drafts and in gameplay. This is just some clean stuff. It's going to be a lot of work if Deadbotting and the rest of Glacial Esports want to find a reverse sweep. Granted, the work can be done. They can find it, but like I said, it's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, definitely back against the wall, but you said it, they've been here before in a similar way where they looked pretty dominant in game 1 and 2, so I'm not going to count them out just yet. It is, of course, grand finals, so now is when you buckle up, you put your A game in, and, you know, I hope they think about, like, what were the issues that got them in that scenario in draft, and really think about it during this 10-minute or so break that they have to really, really lock in, all right, maybe we drop a ban here if we think that there's something that they want to prioritize more than us. But really, it's going to come down to the adaptation, because I think Jellyfish Jammers has been pretty consistent throughout the series. They're not they're just looking solid where they are, and I'm just going to need to see more out of Glacial Tide Esports if they want to take this one.
Yeah, we are going to cut to a short break here while we get ourselves set up for game number 3, what could potentially be our last game of the night. And when we come back from the break, before we get into the draft, we are going to be announcing our awards for the split for this split of Vanquisher. So if you want to see those, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Welcome back, everybody. We're getting ourselves underway for what could be our final game of the night here. XSV on the verge of getting to their chip, beating out the losing in finals allegations for, I think, their past 4 finals in a row. Not here at Titan, but just around the leagues in general.
Yeah, who
Glacial.
counts? No.
Who counts? Who worries about that? But before we get into the draft, we do have an exciting announcement here for the awards here for our Titan Esports Vanquisher split. Congratulations to our league MVP, one of our very own casters here, Freedom Potatoes, with the runner-up Murda Zaza. Congratulations to those players. And as you can see here, plenty of teams actually being given a good amount of representation here across all of our All-Pro teams.
Yeah, and a lot of the teams we saw in those late stage playoff games, for the most part here, fortunate for Oversoul. They got Freedom Potatoes in mid and Luru and Bot in that first team All-Pro, as well as Karonix, who also goes by Crecious, and then Murda, Zaza, as well as Hart. So a couple participants in this game as well. Second Bro All team, we got GGS Peels, we got OVS Swifty, FS Crippy Penguin. I don't know if we casted Flash Syndicate, or was that the week that I was out?
I think we did get them for a game. What's surprising to me is, while all 5 members of the Jellyfish Gamers did make it on the All-Pro ballot, 4 of them are on the 3rd team. Everybody except Crecious, which, I'll be honest, is very surprising. Granted, I know Luru and Gritty were fantastic players in their own right, but I feel like Kusha's been doing very well. And honestly, maybe would have been a runner-up for MVP, at the very least in my book. Yeah.
I will say Crecious is playing very good, so it makes sense, the first team All-Pro. The one that, we're not really seeing Murda at that, as that runner-up so far. It has not been the strongest games in these last 2 for him. So I'd like to see a bit of a step up in performance for this final game, potential final game for them. I'd like to see, show why you're first team All-Pro in this one, but obviously, congratulations to all the players. This is the culmination of a full split's hard work, and if you're not up here, of course, you can compete for it next time as well. You just gotta play the best you can.
Yeah, yep. I mean, again, congratulations to all the players. Great showings from them, and it's been a very successful Vanquisher split. Again, I feel like I always end up saying this. It's always a pleasure to be here casting with you guys and making, the content happen here for Vanquisher. The players really do make it an experience, to be sure. Every game is something unexpected is going to happen, and you just never know exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah, for sure. Now we'll have to see what the cook-up is in the draft here for Glacial. They're going to stick to the red side. They like their final pick, which, we have some thoughts on the lock, for instance, or the Malphite in the last one, as well as the Corki. So maybe some questionable decisions in draft, but that is last game. This is this game. Things can change up here for sure. I think they're in this weird scenario where they want to play for the draft as far as team composition, but also they really want to prioritize lane. I feel like it hasn't really worked out well since Jellyfish Jammers kind of champion pools feel a little bit deeper from at least those first 2 games. As far as flex picks are concerned, as we are seeing some swap ups here. Ahri is crucially not banned here by the Jellyfish Jammers, as Glacial kind of sticks to their first 2. And then Jarvan's going to hit the ban table too now after a couple of stronger junglers have fallen off. His priority is obviously higher. This is really heavily leaning in Ahri first pick.
It's a lot of jungle bans. Vi, Nocturne, Jarvan, Zyra as well, Poppy to a certain extent too. It's just a lot of jungle and topside pressure, and now it's just going to be a matter of what do you have left, as Mel actually did make it through as well, and that might go into the hands of Kush, as much as it could be Hunty's champion.
No, I think it's for sure going to the bot lane. I think the reason you ban out Vi Jarvan after leaving up Ahri is saying, all right, you have no good pairings with the Ahri, so we don't need to deal with it, because there isn't really anything too strong to pair it up with besides maybe Pantheon, but then you have to have Murda willing to pick something like a Pantheon in their potential final match, but it will be signature champion Lee Sin for Murda here.
Okay.
So I'm expecting a good performance out of him in this one, and we do see Lucian. This is a very different Lucian. If you've been watching Lucian in the past, you could still lock it in with Emilio, but a lot of people are opting to play Lucian into mages so you can build Doran's Helm and just AFK farm for the first 10 minutes.
Which it feels so counter to everything we've seen out of Lucian in the past, I want to say 5 years, back when Lucian Nami, Lucian Braum, even farther back to Lucian release date Lucian. He's always been early game aggressive AD carry, you pair up with an aggressive support and you go. But this has now been a very, like you said, very passive style of Lucian. It is going to be paired up with Emilio, but I do agree. I think it is just going to be kind of farming here because you don't really want to interact with the Mel early on in the game.
Yeah, and Emilio makes sense. It does pretty decently into Nefiri, since you can interrupt a lot of the extra damage that Nefiri could get with some extra autos in there, so makes sense to be picked there. And Sion also makes sense to get picked. You're dealing with Lucian, who is a little bit lower damage, so unless you end up with a hyper carry mid, you could really quickly end up with a Sion issue in the mid lane for the side of Glacial, as we do see LeBlanc now getting banned away. Passio, Victor, a lot of the stronger mid laners out of the pool. Silas is available, which has kind of been something that people have been picking, but the ultimates are pretty drab at this current state. So,
we get some crazy here for Liker. I was going to say there are other assassins available, and Liker seems to like that aggressive playstyle. I wasn't expecting Aurelia, if I'm being fair to myself. I was thinking maybe we will see a Silas, maybe we'll see a Zed or something. Renekton mid even. I wasn't expecting Aurelia.
No, I'm saying you slam Renekton mid right now into Liker and just have him have a terrible day. But instead, it's just going to be the Veigar, who has been showing up a little bit more, and I think partially just because Freedom likes to play this champion. A lot of people are playing against each other in scrims and other official matches. It kind of spreads around. It will be that lock-in, and now we're going to get Y again on the Kayle against the tank in the top lane. This is kind of how it started off in the last week for the reverse sweep, with a weird, not scaling comp. I mean, I'd say XSVs is half scaling, half not. You have the Nefiri and the Blitzcrank to really force the issue, but at the same time, you have the Veigar and the Sion for the infinite scaling, so kind of reminiscent of last week, but a little bit more volatility on the other lanes. The Lucian, the Aurelia, the Lee Sin, these are all champions that could both get really safe lanes or really aggressive one. This is going to be pretty interesting here. Blitzcrank could definitely be a big factor. They don't really have someone good to tank a hook. Basically, anyone who gets hooked will die immediately.
I mean, unless we see the full tank Lee Sin, but just given Murda's playstyle, I'd be very surprised. He does seem to enjoy the carry junglers more. We saw that Graves in the previous series that he looked really good on, even if they didn't find the win in that particular game. Glacial just has a team full of carries here. If one of them gets on the ground rolling and actually starts to make it happen, I can see them coming out, but it just feels like a lot less of a consistent comp versus XSV, who has Vigar, Cage, Blitzcrank Hook, Scion ult. They have so many ways to engage and make fights happen. And again, I look at Glacial, where's the go button? How do you actually start a fight?
You better hope Murda is legit smurfing in this one if you want to have a nice engage option here in this. But this could be Glacial's final match of the split here. They're going to really need to show a good performance here with these really kind of unique picks in this one to force an extra game, as we do see the aggressive Living Phoenix has no idea.
He doesn't know, he has no clue! Holding onto the hook, manages to pull back dead botting! Not the target they were hoping for, but they get the flash and the healing out of Living Phoenix.
Yeah, they would have really liked to also get Lucian's flash there, or a barrier or something on top of it, but this will, of course, result in Murda going towards that blue buff on the opposite side, so we'll get a little bit of counter jungling going, and there's a ward on Raptors as well, so actually pretty good positioning for Murda to find himself a good lead, as long as the pathing rings true. Liker takes a turret shot.
Oh, Liker, that's brutal.
Oh my god, half HP on the Aurelia already. Of course, can heal with the passive and the pots ticking up, but that's only one pot since you're going to be on that D-Blade in this one, so
Huntzy's
not going to have...
Huntzy's just bullying him. He's just autoing.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, last game started pretty disastrously for Liker, and honestly, there was a pentakill angle in that game. We'll dodge away from that E. Good
I have to run
footwork
myself
there.
of Aurelia abilities now. When was the last time I casted this champion?
Yeah, I mean, definitely some unique champs out of Liker here. Definitely looking through the bottom of the barrel.
First blood.
Well, no flash.
I have to imagine this
hooked.
is just disrespect of the hook, surely.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really push either. Mel Blitzcrank is kind of a messed up laning combo because the opponent AD carry is not going to have push to be able to deny any real pressure. You know, usually you want to push into the Blitzcrank so that you could avoid getting hooked, but yeah, how is a Lucian supposed to push into a Mel? And then on the other side, you have Blitzcrank, who will punish you because you're sitting under turret and giving him time to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, and this is not even counting the roaming angles for Blitzcrank, because he is a champion that can roam super aggressively, as we see Jabber going for an invade here. Murda is on that red buff. I think Liker did spot out the dog, so they have an idea of that Jabber is here. No help from the team here just yet. Jabber will have the flip over the wall, right into the stun, but a nice stun landing from the Cage as well. Jabber trades flashes with Liker. Aggressive, but Jabber gets out safe.
Yeah, well, good awareness there from Jabber just to use the W to guarantee Q2 doesn't come through. They're going to spot Murda going towards that bot side scuttle, so at the very least Jabber gets one scuttle here, but we're feeling really bad on that clear just because Hunty can't really force the issue to get lane control this early on in mid lane, so Murda is off to a good start so far. Gonna look for the enemy Raptors, which a little ambitious there, but not gonna find much. But once again, kind of in no man's land, and they know that Jabber is somewhere in this quadrant of the map. Maybe potentially looking for Liker with no flash.
There's a path lining up for the Qs, but a nice Cage timing is going to deny Liker's engage in. Flash away from Hunty, one more shot will do. Jabber, easy kill.
Good Cage on that, just good awareness from Hunty to know the timing, but unfortunately the W actually misses out, so it doesn't get the full damage, but it doesn't matter too much, just ends up committing the flash anyways, and makes it through that. And now, alright, Deadbotting and Living Phoenix have a little bit better of a lane area. Able to push in on this wave just with the extra, you know, the pressure that Kush doesn't have too much mana in his pockets. As Zerker is just gonna keep looking for a hook. I said it last week. Infinite scaling champion. Blitzcrank, every hook is a potential 300 gold.
Every hook could potentially just be a pike ult for your team. It just depends on, you know, whether they can get the kill or not.
Yeah. It just reminds me, when I think of a champion like this, it's like, I just think of the Meteos 70 minutes kick, and I know he hates when people tell him that, like, oh yeah, I remember that time you were against Flash Wolves, and it was 72 minutes.
You learned how to play Lee Sin mid-series. It took him 70 minutes, but he figured out how to insect.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think of when I think of Blitzcrank. It's like, oh, it took you 35 minutes to hit a hook, but the hook you landed ended the game, so really worth?
I mean, as long as the hooks you make are impactful and the ones you miss aren't, That's a win. Nice stun lands there from Liker on the flaws to a flash over the wall from Murda. They really want to find Jabber. They know that this dog does not have the flash, but the dog's getting in the way! The little baby's getting in the way of the Sonic Waste. No resonating strike for Murda, and Jabber will escape with his life.
I'm surprised to see Murda commit the flash there. You know that the dogs are always going to be in your way. Aurelia doesn't have the damage right now, I think, to be able to Q through all of them. So can't really clear them fast enough, and not even sure if that's enough time anyways. So able to skate away and makes it out of that one. Liker now taking some decent
sidesteps
damage.
the flawless duet, does manage to get the damage reduction. Now Hunty's level 6, so Liker needs to be careful. But I think Hunty doesn't even... Hunty should just have the damage with a couple more autos, but the healing is there. One more auto. Liker can't finish off Hunty. It's a disaster for the mid laner of Glacial.
Slowest solo kill ever, potentially. Just Veigar with his really slow wind up and just autos. Oh, Y flashes out.
Onslaught top, and Y has the ghost on now. Precious in a little bit of trouble. Has the flash away though. Y takes that tower shot, a little bit of damage, but Precious not really in a position to put any sort of threat on the Kale, so he should be fine.
Yeah, we'll also be able to just catch up this wave. Why I want to make sure that the wave pushes in fully before anything happens. But does have the ult, so not exactly threatened. Just going to shove out this final wave, but... Yeah, this is...
remember, Aurelia will get full builds very soon. She's halfway to her Blade of the Ruin King.
This is true.
And that will be full build.
That is a spike that exists in the game. Still, even after all these years
He's
at this
one of
point.
the best that exists in the game. When Aurelia gets Blade of the Ruin King, you don't fight her until you have, like, half an item over her. And even then, maybe not.
Now, they will get the dragon here, surprisingly, but just this is where they ended up positioning. So Argyros wants to at least look for something. If he could get a hook and get a chunk with Mel, they could get just pulled off of this dragon immediately. And Jabber had the time to upgrade Smite as well, so...
Yeah, he thinks 6.
We'll be able to find this, and they actually just scare them off with the Blitzcrank hook potential.
This is the great thing about Blitzcrank. You don't have to hit your hook or even throw your hook for it to be a threat. You can just stand there menacingly, and they know that you could throw the hook out.
Yeah.
They're going to lose a chunk of HP there.
Liker.
Ults in on the Hunty, who does have the exhaust, but Liker heals up on the wave. Jabber's in the area of the Hound's Pursuit, and they know that they have Liker dead to rights. Down goes the Aurelia. Murda now. Trading with Zarkiros here. The rest of the team coming means Murda has to be on the rough.
Yeah, Zarkiros trying to find the hook here. Murda has a way to dodge out with the ward nearby, but still has to be careful. Hunty's in the bush, is on a ward, but there's not really damage that could be behind this. The TP comes through.
Hunty.
Now kind of an awkward spot. Aurelia no ultimate on the spawn in here. Just gonna get hooked immediately.
In. There's the exhaust down. Maybe a little early, but they just want the damage down on the light curve. Flawless duet lands on a Jabber, and he's got the mobility. Managed to get himself out. Dragon down to 2,500. I think this might just go to Murda and the rest of Glacial, unless they can just walk in. Nice smite though. Murda does take it. He will die immediately. But Zarkiros flashes, finds Liker on the hook. A double kill to Jabber. And the Hounds continue to hunt.
Yeah, well played there from the side of Glacial to at least get the Drake, but they played it really smart there from Jellyfish. They were just waiting for the Blitzcrank hook to come back up before they re-engage fully. We do see how this actually kicked off. Hunty zones out Murda for a little bit, and this TP is really aggressive when you're dealing with a Veigar and a Blitzcrank. Liker's very lucky that Cage was not up in that scenario, and eventually... Oh. On bottom lane, Jabber just killed the lone dead body. But in the Drake pit here, Murda gets the smite before dying, but still, he'll take that, and the flash hook is good enough onto Liker.
A little bit farther forward here to see what exactly happened here. The dead body just not... Oh, Zarkiros actually was the one that got caught out there, and then it just was turned back around.
Yeah, dead body can't get out there, so...
Anytime in mid lane,
hook into the cage in mid.
Hook right into the cage, Liker, though, in actually a decent position to fight this if he wants to. Passive stack, but now a Jabber in the area. He just has to run. Knockup lands from Zarkiros. There's the Hound's Pursuit. Liker with the grand finale. Nothing doing, though. Hunty finds another kill.
Yeah, Hunty with the outskill button multiple times this game so far. You're feeling really good here with that Primordial Burst for the Veigar. Stacks, I'm sure, also looking pretty chunky because
It's a 5-0.
yeah,
Devil
strong
Dog,
the
by the way.
Fury. This
Yeah,
is my
the Fury
permaban,
is-
by the way. I hate this champion. I think it is so. It's a low skill assassin, which I just hate. Like that is like the combo I just hate. Kayn, what used to be my least favorite champion, but I don't need to ban it because people don't play it that well. But yeah, seeing the Fury strong definitely brings something out of me that I will not share today.
You just start to feel that hatred really build up in you. I get
Yeah.
it. I understand. I have a couple champions like that. When I see
I'm sure
Yumi
a lot of people are looking at Mel on their screen right now and like, oh yeah, that's the
feeling similarly. Even after the countless nerfs that have been thrown her way, she is still just so annoying. People don't like their abilities being denied.
I feel like it's more than that. I feel like the Q has always been the thing I have the biggest gripe with. A near instant skill shot that triggers the rest of her kit to work.
I think it is also the fact that in the rework they made her Q more instant. They made it faster.
Yeah.
It got worse.
It's you know, there's just a lot of questionable.
I feel like our
design
observer might be
decisions.
saying that the execute is also a part of the kit that they have an issue with. Maybe just subtly.
So we have a problem with passive, Q, W, E is
People
just
have had a
lux
problem-
binding,
People have had a problem with E just because the hitbox is so wonky.
and then ult execute maybe does too much damage. No, okay, well enough
But it also
complaining.
applies off the passive, so you know.
But yeah, we are seeing how it's playing out. 116 stacks on the Vigar. So just super chilling in this one. The Aurelia blind, not really looking like it's working out. I'll say that to be nice. 0 and 5, not a scoreline like I was expecting. But has been quite targeted in most of these games, and it feels like it's partially just because there isn't too much pressure from either of the side lanes. And
Yeah.
Murda just has felt homeless due to that. You just don't really have a lane to play.
I mean,
You know,
you're
I'm not
playing
one for-
Sin. You're not going to gank your Kale because that's Kale versus Sion. You're not going to get anything done pre-level, what, 12, 13?
Yep.
Lucian Melio is a pretty tough lane to gank for just because they don't have any crowd control. And Aurelia doesn't have a ton of CC to set on her own. As in the meantime, bottom side, Koosh with that Golden Eclipse will find one kill. Jabber will might die here under turret. Doesn't actually. He's got the invulnerability. Drops the turret targeting. He'll manage to walk his way out. What looks like a messy dive turns out pretty clean.
Yeah, Murda now realizing, all right, I got to make a play on the other side of the map. Top lane it is. As Y hits level 11 right here. This is a really good timer, and they get the wave in. Precious.
Shouts it away, so Murda's gonna start tanking the turret.
Uh-oh.
Tanks up the kick. There's the divine intervention, so Kale will keep Murda alive, but they can't finish off Precious. He's too damn tanky.
Yeah, the Scion lives, and Jabber can just catch the wave here too, so they're not even going to lose much gold on the map either. As yes, the Kale hits 11, but the map is looking dire at this stage of the game. Of course, never count a Kale out, but it's still...
Don't count Kale out. Don't count Aurelia out. That's a fork power spike. That Aurelia, she's online. She's ready to go.
Yeah, online, ready to solo kill your mid laner once again. Well, I guess for the first time in this one. It would be funny if it happens, just to spice up the game a little bit.
But also, when has Hunty ever been solo in this game? It feels like we've always seen either Zarkuros or Jabber just sitting in this lane, making life difficult, as Lyca's is going to eat a chunk of HP. In the meantime, though, Murda tries to engage on Zarkuros, but now the Hound's pursuit. Don't touch my Blitzcrank, says Jabber. Jabber, get the heck off of my mans. YTP's in, or walks down, actually, with that Ghost to try and make this play happen, but nothing doing for him here. They do save Murda, though, but the Dragon is up. Murda doesn't have a lot of health to come in for this.
Yeah, this is looking like a bit of a chokehold.
Lyca's down 2 levels, but with the fork, he might be able to make something happen. Precious will get an auto or two in with the Grasp, but yeah, Aurelia does kind of make Sion's life not happy. But I think he's fine to just kind of walk away from this. I don't think he's feeling too stressed just yet.
Yeah, waiting for the ults mostly in this one, but you can see the healing coming through is very significant. I expect to see a Bramble come out from Precious after this fight ends, just to be able to sidelane against Aurelia in the future. As now Y's getting chased out a little bit. Jabber
Does not have the
got
flash.
range.
Murda wants to find the burst onto Hunty. Immediately has the flash over the primordial burst! bumpered up in time. Murda goes bye-bye. Killing spree now for the Vigar. I think this guy might be online as Argyros has flashed over the wall, just wants Y. Silence, knockup, the Divine Intervention's there, so Y will be able to walk out, but Jabber just really wants that kill, and we'll end up taking him down.
Yeah, now Liker's kind of in an awkward position, but could really outplay this potentially, but they should have the CC chain to avoid any shenanigans as the baby Krug cancels the Blitzcrank recall, but luckily not on vision, so not going to try anything crazy from Liker to at least recover the scoreline a little bit, sitting at that 0-5 currently. Yeah. And the hard part is, how do you get back in this one? We talked about how Engage is tough for the side of Glacial, and yeah, that's not going to get much easier when you're behind this much in the early game. 5k almost.
You have good engage tools. You find ways in as Murda tries to come in, but on a ward will be spotted. Argyros still bucks into the Sonic Wave, though. Murda will take a little bit of his HP for it, but deadbotting has to be careful. Koosh has the ultimate, but now looking to get engaged on. Argyros holding him off. Murda waiting for just a little bit more damage. Koosh walks up too far forward! A double kill to deadbotting!
Yeah, Koosh way too far forward there. Murda finds the bit of slowing that they need to be able to guarantee the kill, with deadbotting getting the main recipient of that those 2 kills. So we'll also claim up most of this turret's HP, but with the extra resistances of having 3 people in the area, not going to go down here. I'm surprised to see Argyros play this so passively, it feels like. Not committing the hook at all. Obviously a little bit scared of anything that could potentially come through. Murda does a good job putting his body in between him and deadbotting to make sure that there is no potential threat on the Lucian, and the kills come through in favor of Glacial.
Simultaneously too passive, but also too aggressive. Like, if you're going to be that passive, why are we standing that far forward? And if we're going to be that aggressive, why are we not throwing hook out, trying to make something happen?
Yeah, just gave up basically all of the onus while also giving up the positioning. So, not exactly going to work out in his favor there, as Sion, just chilling in the top side, has now the Unending Despair for those longer fights, which both Kale and Aurelia. It is definitely something unique, but I don't think it's that bad either. I think it gives you some extra damage, some extra survivability, and it does decently well into all of the opponent champions, who are mostly melee, besides the Kale, who is somebody else's problem. Not going to be the Scions.
Yeah, if you have your Scions matching side lane versus the Kale, I think something's not going right.
Yeah, so far that's been the case. Just keeping it, but it's still kind of lane assignment era, because bot lane still hasn't cleared either of their turrets on both sides, so still trying to find the windows. Liker, once again, getting poked out.
Argyros has the hook. And there's the rest of the team follow-ups. Argyros wants the kill this time around. Gets his first of the game, and the gold lead is just continuing to grow. It's about 5,000 for XSV, and it doesn't feel like it's going away anytime soon.
I mean, at this point, if I'm Liker, I'm just laughing every time I die. It's just laughter. There's nothing else to really think. It's a 0-6 game, and you're still getting 3-man mid. And there really isn't anything for Glacial to get on the map elsewhere, so yeah, it is where he finds himself, and is where he lies currently. Yeah. Yeah,
this Nefari's slightly 6-0, has 2 items pre-20 minutes. I think she's kind of strong. And Deadbotting, on the other side, does have 2 items of his own, and Essence Reaver Infinity are just, they're lacking matter in terms of items, but how does this Lucian actually get damage off in these team fights? As Precious will take a trade with Y here, who's eating a bit of damage from the minions, but I don't think cares too much, as there's a couple of members here lying in wait for a potential Scion overextend.
Yeah, lots of people here for the Scion, who sniffs it out, but gets
the ultimate. Murda will catch it.
They don't have the damage.
They're trying. They're really trying, but I just don't actually think they can.
They do get the turret, so it frees up Kale a little bit, but you free up the Kale to maybe match Hunty in a side lane would not feel good. That's for sure. Let's just say if Kale's not fast on the ultimate and gets caged, for instance, it'll just be an insta-kill. As we do see how that...
We get the angle on this? Oh!
Shout out to Shivam and Anti, to producer, observer, duo. Poor Liker. Just 3 people lying in wait.
And that's just kind of been the story of this game 3. It has been Liker trying to be aggressive, play this Aurelia, but Hunty just always has 1 or 2 extra people waiting in the wings to punish. And, you know, that's the thing with League of Legends. It's a team game. You got to expect it. You're going to take some outnumbered fights.
Yeah, and Game 2 felt really similar as well with this more aggressive pick that could potentially work, but needs to win early.
Good. Into the wall! Koosh has the damage there. We'll finish him off. The Dragon will also go over to XSV. Leaving Phoenix and Deadbotting on the run. Hunty really wants to chase them down, but I don't think they have the speed for it. With the flash, double flash is forced out of Botting and Living Phoenix. Flashing for the hook, but Zarkiros can't find the angle that time around. I love the aggression. Doesn't work out this time.
Yeah, 2 for 2 there as far as flashes, but still gonna feel good about that hook landing. You know, we talked about the 70-minute Lee Sin. Well, why wait 70 minutes when you could just land every hook for the last 5 minutes?
Liker has to be careful here. Hound's Pursuit. He's just gonna get eaten alive. Yeah, Jabber does a little bit of damage.
It's never a good sign when your solo laners are getting solo killed by a jungler, but that is just the game we found ourselves in. We're going for the 0-10 power spike, which is not reserved just for Yasuo and Yone. I do recall Aurelia also having a similar trait. Not as strong, though.
I don't want to blame this all on the level 1 from that 1 tower shot that Liker took, because I do think it was a lot of XSV laying around the pick very well, making Liker's life genuinely living hell in mid lane. It was never just a good 1v1 time for him. But that tower shot level 1 really did not do him any favors.
Yeah, it basically gave Vygar just like, oh yeah, I could just chill for the next like 5 minutes to level 5. And as long as I don't die on exactly the level 6 timer, I'm good. And luckily, you know, you have Zarkiros and Jabber who are covering that exact timer, and it worked out perfectly well for the Jellyfish jammers. And now it feels like they really can't do wrong on the map. You have so much pressure, so much advantage gold-wise as well. 8K. Is this really how Grand Finals Game 3 is going to go?
I mean, we have to remember, both of these teams are coming off of some pretty tough losses. I think the fact that XSV has come out screaming with a lead as Living Phoenix is going to get a chunk taken out of him, has to burn the heal and the Kale heal as well. Yeah, but both these teams are coming off of pretty hefty losses in previous matches that they played together, so it is difficult mentally to come back from that. Obviously, when you come up 2-0 in the series, you're saying, oh, we're back, it was a fluke, everything's great, it's awesome. But when you go down 2-0, it just feels so impossible to climb back up that mountain as another hook lands, another kill to XSV.
Yeah, this is simply doing what needs to be done here for the Jellyfish jammers.
Why
feels mostly formalities.
Now Jabber's in the area. Does have the Divine Intervention. We'll be able to pick up the kill on Hunty here. Big shutdown over to the Kale, but can you fight Jabber? Not level 16 just yet, but he has the damage! Why makes it happen? Zarkiros doesn't have the ultimate, but he just needs to get close enough to throw an auto attack. There it is. Finds it. Punches him out, but that's 2 big shutdowns over to the Kale.
Yeah, the Kale just got super accelerated there. If there was a window, if there was a chance here for Glacial, that is it now.
16 Kale, Dragon's Rage, on to Crushus, doesn't find Koosh, but they're going to try and just finish him off regardless. Nice little CC timing there, buffers away from that flawless duet. And now Zarkiros is down here to apply some more CC as well. Liker forced to flash away. Golden Eclipse available for Koosh, but not in that kill range just yet. Doesn't want to throw it. Now brings it down. A double kill, Tamel!
Yeah, the stacks are there. The execute range is there. Koosh finds a double kill. Makes it look pretty simple. Nice dodge away on the Q from, of course.
I think our
the Lee Sin,
trying to tell us something.
Yeah, this is a good champion. That's what he's saying right there.
Mm-hmm.
And now, let's see. Phoenix. That's how the Melio dies and just baits in the poor Lucian. Deadbotting goes down again. And we do see how this replay ends up going. Just good footwork by Y. Guts exhausted, but it doesn't matter too much because the flash and the ultimate are there. Eventually goes for the 1v1 on Jabber, but the Fury not one of those champions that can do much without the abilities available. And final one punch here. Sure you can!
Ooh.
From Zarkiros to finish it off.
That was very well played by Y. To be in a situation like that and come out with 2 kills, it's got to feel good. But it feels like, again, just like small peanuts, a consolation prize when your team is having this happen across the map. Is in the picture-in-picture. There goes Murda Zaza. No steal opportunity for this Lee Sin as the smite will come through. Jabber will find that one, and the lead will continue to advance for XSV.
I think they found their strategy here for XSV. They are so strong, they just have to ignore the Kale or send 5 members at her, which is what they are doing currently.
Precious. Y is level 16, so this is the strongest the Kale is gonna get for some time. Members collapsing for Precious, but now the rest of the team will come through. A nice hook from Zarkiros, the knockup. No divine intervention available if you cannot press your buttons. Dead body will fall as well. Living Phoenix is on the run, slow to the land, and the Hounds will come through. Nice little mega fire kick there from the Emilio, but feels like the dogs will chase you down. They smell the blood in the water. The golden eclipse for the one last kill. Kush goes dominating.
Yeah, big fight there for Zarkiros, finding the hook onto Y, and no time to click the ultimate, so just gets taken down. 5 bounties on the board for the Jellyfish Jammers, and they're gonna walk it up in the bot lane. Murda now has to be careful, gets rooted up, might just get taken down.
Kush can take a lot of damage here. I think has to respect this a little bit more. Nice, a little movement there. Crash just gets in the way of that Sonic Wave, so no chance to come through for that one. Murda will manage to escape, but that felt a little bit overzealous from Kush.
Yeah, very close, just unfortunately doesn't actually land. Oh, as we cut, the Wolves get stolen away there, as we do get a replay. Chronix very, very tanky on the Scion, takes a lot of the damage, and this was an issue I thought would happen. And Zarkiros flashed over the wall with Hex Flash, gets the hook, there's a full CC chain, and Deadbotting just in a disastrous position. And eventually, Living Phoenix gets chased out as well. Murda in the picture, gets fought by Jabber.
Oh, Jabber finds that kill. This Naviri does disgusting damage. We see Living Phoenix get caught down, but in the picture, Precious wants to find us all, and Living Phoenix will get hunted down. These dogs, they just smell it. They go in every time, and it's just nothing doing. XSV on the verge of 3-0ing this finals. I do want to say, in the Discord's general chat, in the Masters 100 specific general chat, who said, I am not escaping the mage bottom lane allegations. I am being forced. I gotta say, he looks like he's having a little bit too much fun to be forced, as another great hook lands! Zarkiros doesn't miss those! The last hope for Glacial falls with Y! Liker makes a valiant attempt, but it's nothing doing. It's just dead body left in the base. Murda will respawn, but it's just in time to watch their Nexus die! XSV will be your Masters 100 LP Vanquisher champions!
Congratulations over to the XSV. Or excessive, I'm not sure. I've been mixing them up, matching them up, but congratulations to them in the Jellyfish Jammers. A clean 3-0 out of this one. And honestly, they made it look so good in the last 2 games, especially. Felt like not much of a question in my mind in Game 3 and Game 2. As soon as that one fight went the other way, that was more than enough to close it out here for them.
Yeah, that was a clinic of a series, I have to say. It really didn't feel like Glacial Esports gave themselves much of a chance in draft, but even for the moments that they had in game, it just felt like the Jammers had a response for everything that they were gonna do.
Yeah, it felt like they didn't have a great response to just playing mage bot and allowing the roaming support shenanigans to occur. And as Arkyros played a really solid series, supporting Hunty in the mid lane, as well as, of course, just holding it down with Kush down there. And then, I mean, a quiet game from Crecious, of course, but on the Scion, that's what you want, a quiet game. You don't want the 0-10 run it down Scion performance. So
not
really,
that Kale.
Oh, for sure not. Luckily, not gonna have to worry about the Kale too much here, and they're able to skate away. I mean, I predicted before the day it would be a 3-0, so I'm glad to see that my curse is not so crazy. That
you didn't say it on broadcast.
I did not say it on broadcast. However, all of you told me to shut up ASAP as soon as I said it. So I didn't want to say it before the match actually started. I just felt like they were in better form, and turns out that was indeed the case. Commiserations, of course, over to Glacial Tide Esports. They're going to be obviously sad to not take home that first place victory, but second place is very, very honorable out of this one.
It was an impressive run, to be sure. I don't think a lot of people really expected them to fully make finals. I think a lot of people were expecting a quarters or a semis exit. So the fact that they made it, and especially in the way that they did, that reverse sweep is going to live in my head rent free. for a number of reasons. But I think a big part of it was Glacial just having good mental and coming through in the end.
Yeah, I think just not enough time to prep in draft in this one, and that ends up with them finding themselves at a loss here. But I don't know. Do you have a person you want to shout out as like a potential MVP? Because we usually do this anyways for finals.
Yeah, I
specifically.
mean, if I said it was anyone other than either Crecious or Jabber Jabber, I feel like I'd be lying. I want to give Zarkuro so much credit for this game specifically on the Blitzcrank. The hooks were immaculate. But for the entirety of this series, it did really feel like this topside was running the map. The Mbessa in Game 1, this Nefiri in Game 3, and the duo of them in Game 2 just made life so difficult for Glacial for the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, as far as shutouts, I feel like it's got to go to Crecious. Like, I feel like, yes, Jabber played a really great series where I felt like there was never a scenario where Murda was ahead.
He
Except
did
for that.
lose a smite one time, which I think makes
He did
him
lose Dragons multiple times. This is
which
true.
means he loses the MVP honors, of course, and it goes to Crecious. Because if a jungler,
Congratulations,
if you're not
Crecious.
perfect, you're done.
Yeah, us casters have decided you are our finals MVP.
Congratulations to Crecious and congratulations to XSV. We're going to cut to a short break here while we get ourselves set up for an interview with some of the winning members of XSV Jellyfish Jammers. So don't go anywhere. One last time for this Vanquisher split. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We have the entirety of the Jellyfish Jammers here for a finals interview. Gamers, congratulations on your victory here in very stunning fashion. I mean, talk about belts going places that I'm not going to mention on broadcast. That was a shellacking.
Yes.
All right.
Full diddle.
Full diddle, no baby oil.
Okay.
This
all
is
right.
true. Hey, I'm not gonna disagree there. That definitely did seem that way. I gotta say, first things first. There's been a lot of smack talk. Anything you want to say, just to get it off the record now.
I think we gotta let Koosh handle that one.
My team silenced me because if I say something, I might get banned from Titan. So
Okay, we'll keep it at that. I'm sure there are words that will be exchanged elsewhere.
I'm
just
sure
the only thing I'll
keep
say
your
is
eye
that
on-
dead botting
keep your
guy's
eye
a
on
bum,
Discord
and he's never
chats.
gonna win.
And hey, you guys kept it that way today. That's true. You guys did.
Mhm.
I was
Coming into
saying
this
haters
series-
be damned. He did show up to finals at least, so
He
you know,
made it.
it's a little bit of
almost
credit.
didn't make it.
It was-
If I'm being
it was a very
honest,
close
Yeah,
series.
2 minutes.
if I'm being honest, I think OVS should have been here, and I think it would have been a much closer series. So it was kind of
Yeah.
disappointing to see them kind of crumble at the end there and let Glacial whip out a comeback, but it made it so the free finals for us, so works for us.
Speaking of crumbling, there has been a lot of losing happening recently between both you guys and Glacial Esports coming into this series. It was kind of our main narrative on the day, just these teams are struggling in their finals recently. Did that have any sort of effect coming into today, or were you guys just feeling confident in this matchup?
I'll answer that one first. I think that I can't speak for my teammates because we didn't really talk about it. I didn't want to like bring it up and put like bad juju on our team, you know, right before the finals. But it's definitely something I was thinking of. But for me personally, I don't know if you're probably aware of the BOL series. That was an absolute disaster. So for me personally, I was more worried about kind of doing a good job this series and kind of bringing it back. I think there was a lot of doubt after we had some lag problems, and then I completely freaked out Game 5 and went like 10 deaths on Syndra. So I was probably a little bit more worried about that than the narrative. But you know,
I think he was talking about XSV finals losing.
Yeah,
4
yeah.
in a row.
No, I agree. I was more worried about bringing it back and doing good in this series compared to the BOL one than I was the XSV narrative of losing in finals.
At the end of the day, we're not related. I mean, we're played for the same org, but you know, none of us are on any of those teams, and like we're super confident with our team. We've played so many games together and just been like really strong team. So I think we were all extremely confident coming into the series, like with that lose streak in the finals by XSV notwithstanding. You know, that's not related to us as a team.
Yep. No, I agree. I think, hey, it's good though. Every narrative you destroy is for the better. You know, it makes it so that new
True.
narratives can bloom. So, and the narrative now is you guys are champions. So, as champions, I always ask this because, unfortunately, many teams after they win, they split up. Do you guys have any discussions of plans for the future?
We're all going to Disneyland together.
Ooh.
I think in general, the team likes to stay together. But I just had my first son, so I'm the questionable one. But if the team wants to stick around with no scrims, I think that's where we're at right now.
We do have plans for a 250 LP cap league. Hopefully,
Okay.
Kush can make it.
I think we had plans of maybe going into Ascendant or the 250 CCS, which we can't say on Titan, so blur that out to bleep it out.
Unfortunately, we're live. That's not getting blurred out.
Yeah, long story short, we're staying together. We all love playing together. I think so.
Great.
That's
We
always
want to
great.
keep playing together.
Because I remember last Vanquisher, obviously the champions were like, yeah, we're like quitting. We're like done playing for like half of them. So that was an interesting. I was like, oh shoot, there goes all the storylines. But you know, now we got Dwam doing analysis. Crazy.
Mhm.
The Dwam tent this season did go hard.
Great
It
content.
did.
I loved it.
Great
Yeah,
content.
I agree. Dwam.
Yeah, Dwam's content was great.
All right, before we send you guys out of here, I want to ask, just running down the line, we'll start with you, Cretius. Crash it. No, you just read the message. It's Creatious. I got gaslit by my own caster partner. It's
Just call
fine.
him Creature at this point. Come on.
That'll work. I'm going to ask you to be in particular. Do you have any shout-outs you want to give before we send you off back into the ether of postseason League of Legends here at Titan? Creatious, we'll start with you.
Of course, major shout out to the squad here. All the boys, we've been playing together and loving it. And shout out to our owners, Shane and Volter, and any other of the owners, but those are the most involved with us. They've always believed, and they were big fans of ours and cheering us on all along the way. So thanks to them, and yeah, love the squad at XSV.
All right, Jabber.
Shane for paying my entry fee and fucking Tupac. we'll throw him in.
He's gonna be in a video game soon, so you know.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Did see that?
Like,
yeah, that's happening.
That crazy pull.
Fortnite.
They revived him. He's in a game. Wild. All right. Next one, Hunty.
Yeah, like the others, I would just do team first always. I love these guys. I also would mention Shane, Paige, and Volta, the owners of XSV. And then beyond that, I would probably want to include our subs. I know we had a couple people missing throughout the season. We had scrims where people weren't there, so we had like Slayer, we had Lelofant, we had Immortadoge, and a few other people that were able to help us out when people were missing. And I think if they weren't there, our time throughout the season would have been a lot more difficult.
Love to see the subs get some love. Koosh, how about you?
Probably the same, honestly. Just shout out to my teammates, for always sticking together, always being confident in the downs and in the highs, never doubting that we're going to win. Shout out to the rest of the org for always supporting us, our owners, everyone else in our watch parties. And yeah, shout out to Deadbotting too for hiding his picks this series so we can 3-0, honestly. Maybe,
it had to happen. It had to happen.
I don't know if we would have lost that game. He might have pulled out the real picks in game 4 and 5. It might have reverse swept, but we'll never know.
Alternate realities that aren't realized. So
yeah, maybe next year when I retire Deadbotting, we'll see.
And finally, Zarkiros, how about for you?
Since everyone else seems to be friends maxing, I'm not going to do that. I want to give a shout out to Luru from OBS. I think he put on a great split this series, or like this season. And obviously he had the unlucky run in semis, but I think he's a great player, and I think he should be proud of what he did. So shout out to him, and then I want shout out to my team as well. I think we draft really unorthodox and flex stuff around, which makes draft against us really hard. I mostly want to shout out Hunty for that. Hunty basically gets thrown all the garbage stuff we don't want to play, and kind of just bites the bullet. So Cretius and Koosh can carry, and so we kind of put that heavy burden on him in draft, and I want to thank him for that.
Thanks, Zai.
Yeah.
awesome.
All right. Well, again, congratulations on your guys' win. Thank you for being here for the interview. And I want to thank all of you at home for sticking with us through the entirety of this Titan Vanquisher split. For one last time, I've been What's It Pretty. That's Golden Gad.
I have a
the
request.
Titan.
Okay, we have a request.
All right.
Can we get the Jellyfish Jam song on the way out? That's all I ask.
That's
all right, you
up
have
to
to link it to
producer.
Shavam.
Sweet victory.
It's the Sweet Victory SpongeBob.
Shout out to Brenner.
Yes.
Shout out to Brenner.
Shout out to
True,
Brennan.
true. We
One
do play it
final
after
shout.
every
Don't
dub
link
while
it.
we're streaming.
Well,
Okay. Yeah, Zai, you got
Zai,
it.
send a link.
got it.
We'll see if we
Okay,
can get it
yeah.
through. Again, I want to thank you all so much for joining us for the entirety of this Vanquisher split. I've been What's It Pretty. That's been Golden Gad. Again, repping that Titan merch. Our producer and observer for the entirety of this split, Shavam and Anti, have done an incredible job of making sure that this show runs as smoothly as possible every single time. I cannot shout them out enough. And again, I want to thank you all for
crazy.